WESWES, y'all.
Entertain. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, because that's how I am at work. I'm always cracking up people. Yeah, just being a clown because it's just me, because it's who I am. Just whatever I'm feeling, I just project that, share it with others. Yeah.
Because you know when I look at your TikToks and that, like the thing that comes out for me when I watch your videos and that, what you post, is your lip syncing. Because honestly, bro, like I've never seen anyone lip sync like you, like in a way where you can actually be that person singing or whatever you're lip syncing to, because of your facial expressions and just the way you know, the way you do those lip syncing stuff. Because honestly, I'm like, man, you've got. Have you done some like acting classes and acting school and all that?
I guess because I'm a perfectionist, that if I'm going to do something, I got to do it properly. So I'm always watching how I say things and make sure that it lines up to not just the to the audio, but even the expressions that go with it. Because you know how you can be good at the timing when you're lip syncing something, but there's no expression, there's no feel in it. And so I always concentrate on doing that.
Yeah.
Like I watch a lot of, that's how I started on TikTok. When I first saw it, a few of my mates showed me videos and told me what happens and how you can make videos and stuff. And I thought, oh, I could do better than that. That's dumb. That's probably because growing up as a kid, I'm always looking in the mirror and I'm always just clowning around, messing around with my facial expressions. Yeah, and so doing TikTok, I think about what the person is saying and how they say it, and then I just use like my aunties, my uncles, nieces, and how they communicate, and I always pick up on the expressions, and so I kind of mimic that.
Nah, they're real good, man. I can say that, man. They're real good. And the first time I ever saw, like, because your thing, I think in your TikToks you do a lot of comedy skits and a lot of comedy, like sort of little videos, that you do by yourself. But the lip sync ones are the ones that really stand out for me. And when I think about with Jimmy Fallon, you know how he has those lip sync competitions.
Yeah.
Don't know if you've seen them, but I think they're on YouTube as well. Like one guy that had a real hilarious lip sync and was really good at it was that actor who plays Ant-Man. That guy.
Yeah.
Guy?
Yep.
I forgot his name, but
yeah, another one you're talking about.
Yeah. But he lip synced Tina Turner.
Oh, I think I did see that.
And that was so good, man, because he had everything, like all the facial expressions and the movements and everything like that. Like, you can honestly think that he had Tina Turner's voice and the whole thing.
Yep.
You know? And I think that's an actor's skill, eh? Like, because that's what I thought. Are you an actor? Because that is something that they're trained for. And
well, just thinking now, because you brought it up, when I went to Excel School of Performing Arts, I went there for music. And so guitar was my major, dance minor. When I got in, I asked if I can swap it over and do dance. And I've never danced before. And I guess with some of the stuff that we learned, I probably used that. And that was how, you can have the moves and be able to dance. But if you're not showing any expression on your face, then it's nothing. You need to be more entertaining and if you're going to use your entire body, your face is part of it too, so you have to show a lot of expressions, and that's probably why, because just like the whole lip sync thing, you can get the timing right, but if you're not showing any expressions, then it's not great. Yeah, so I really do work hard on making sure that the timing is right and even the expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can take, because it's only a 1 minute clip. Man, it could take me like 2, 3 hours just to try and get it right.
Oh, really? So you actually did do several takes?
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
heck yeah. Like in one segment that's like a few seconds, I could spend like probably 10 minutes just going back and forth trying to record it and get it right. Yeah, and I guess because I haven't really posted much in the past few months is because I'm like, oh man, it's just hard work. I can't really
Yeah.
be bothered, but
Feeling the
I'm-
grind of it, eh?
yeah, but I'm slowly getting back into it. I need to because it's what makes me happy. Not just having to make others happy, but even having that outlet of expressing how I'm feeling. Because I've always liked interacting with people and wanting to, I guess, serve is another way of putting it. Where, yeah, if I can be something in your life where they could, make you laugh, then man, I'm down for that because I think I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, yeah.
and I always think that everyone has gifts and talents, and it's not just for you. It's not just yours. I think it's important that we should share it with others because you never know what it can do for you. Because I think the first year when I did a lot of the Laughing Samoans skits, there's a lady in Australia. She was going through chemotherapy. And I was amazed by her comments and how my videos meant so much to her. And we still talk today. For me, I think just posting what I do, just leave it out there for the people and they can do whatever they want with it. But I didn't think that it would have a huge impact on their lives, like for her. Because, man, she would send me so many messages on how much it meant to her, how much of an impact it was, and how it helped her get through those, those depressing times, being in hospital, and helped her get through. And sometimes I think, that can't be real. But then I'm like, well, I don't know what it's like for... Actually, sorry, with the Laughing Samoans, when I first saw them in 2006, that was a huge impact for me. It was something that I can relate to because I could see my dad, my aunties, my mum, my uncles and all of that. And I guess it showed for me that there was a connection there. It's something that I don't know, it just made me real happy, funny as, and me and my mates would watch that every day. And I guess, yeah, that's what it did for her. And other people as well when I talked about depression and all that kind of stuff. Because I thought that, well, since I'm on TikTok doing a lot of skits, I guess because I ran out of ideas on what to do, I thought, well, okay, real talk. I started talking about stuff, trauma and struggles in my life, and I thought I'll see what would happen because I didn't really care what the negative impact would be for me. I didn't really care because that was my past. I've dealt with that. But I thought if it could help someone, then sweet. And then it did, and I didn't realize that it was going to be a huge thing. And so we're still talking today. All the people that I guess you could say I've helped, just to for me it was to help them feel comfortable knowing that they're not the only ones going through it. And that's how over time it led into the panel that we've been doing.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, the panel. But man, you know that woman that was in hospital, like, was she just someone that just picked up your videos from the social media platforms just randomly?
Yeah.
And how far in were you into the video stuff, the skit stuff when that happened? Because that because I've heard stories of a lot of people like their turning point, not turning point, but the point in their TikTok or skit video journey is when something like that happens. Like they get reached out by someone that, or video or skit meant something to them, and they even save their lives in some cases. Like someone woke up real having a bad day, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they were gonna end it that day, and then for some reason scrolled and saw a funny video, and made them laugh, and then changed the way, and then messaged that person, man, you just saved my life.
Yeah. That I think it's amazing how little things like that, making videos or whatever, can have a huge effect on a person. I think it was probably mid-year 2020, I think, is when she commented a lot on my videos, and then she caught one of my lives, and she started following me on Instagram, and then she thanked me for the videos that I've been posting and how it really helped to get through all of that kind of stuff. And it's a huge deal, like, for me, and how awesome those experiences are, and how to me it's just nothing. It's just a little thing, chuck it out there, but for her and other people it's a huge deal. And so because of the effects that my videos have made on people, I thought, man, I should encourage people to pay attention more to the little details you think it is in your life, because those little things, it could be nothing to you, but it's a huge deal to other people, whether that's a good or bad thing. Yeah, and because a lot of that was happening, and all the feedback with how the videos are doing for people, I thought, man, that's cool. I'm going to keep doing it because I love doing it, because it's an outlet where I can express that energy, because I really needed to, because I was spending too much time with work, that I realized I needed to do something for myself outside of that, whether it took 10 minutes or an hour. Next to spending 12 hours at work, it was something where it changed my routine. Because for me, working all those hours for so many years, you do feel like a slave, and you get unhappy, and then you kind of put the blame on the wrong people or workplaces, thinking, well, they made me work and all that kind of stuff, but you didn't have to. Like, they can't make you. And when I started questioning my life and my choices, I realized that, man, yeah, I actually miss doing what I love, whether it's playing sports or performing, dance and all that kind of stuff. And then when I come across TikTok, I thought, man, I can do it here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for any attention. It was just to express that energy. And and it was good that you can do it right there in your home, in your bedroom.
I think what you just talked about there, with what you enjoy doing and your passions, like for performing arts, that kind of stuff, because I can see that energy coming through in your TikToks and stuff. But see that it's like you just alluded to, having a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And then you needed an outlet, because things goes down at work. Might not be the job that people enjoy, but when they have their hobby,
Yeah.
it might be something they enjoy more than their job. And I think the thing is, how do we make that hobby into my full-time job? Like, how do we sustain that? I think that's a thing for a lot of Polynesians, especially because that field of entertainment or performing arts, like it's like, if you're not making it in mainstream, then you haven't made it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you haven't crossed that line of getting a proper audience all over New Zealand, because we are talking about majority white people live in New Zealand,
Yep.
So it's trying to get into that space. And how do we, as Polynesian people, how do we make that our own kind of space, you know?
Yeah. And I realized too that with, you know, your work, your life and all that, if you put those things in the right order, you'll be able to find happiness somewhere in there, and like not treat your work don't treat your job like it's your career or something that you have to put all your time and energy into to fill in your entire day. If it's something that you enjoy and you love, then yeah, that's cool. But like for me, I had to realize that that's just where I get my bread and butter. And I need to do something that I love outside of that.
Need to pay the bills. Everyone needs to pay the bills and stuff. Yeah.
And I do love my job. I've been doing this stuff for like 17 years. Early in the years, I did play like touch a few times a week. And then there was band practices and all that, and spending time with friends. But then I got busier, we all kind of parted, and I spent too much time at work and used that as my place where I get my happiness from. But then outside of that, I have a life too. But what am I doing with it? Nothing. And, you know, I would finish work, depending on the hours, because we're all over the place, probably finish like 5 or 7, and then I'll do my family thing, spending time, have dinner and all that, when once the kids are in bed. Then from 9 p.m. onwards, that's my time.
Yeah.
Where I can have, or, you know, try and figure out this TikTok thing. And yeah, I learned that over time, you know, you'll make time for the things that you love. And I did. So I was able to rearrange, kind of put these things in order, and then, yeah, realize that, man, actually, yeah, I can stay at this job here and be happy with what I'm doing and enjoy what I do outside of that in my own time. Because before it was the other way around. Like, oh, I hate my job. And the job wasn't a problem. It was just having to get out of that. I guess like for us, Polly's getting out of that mindset and thinking that the only way that we can provide for our families is to work hard, no matter how long it takes, work hard. But then you lose out on your family time, and then even for yourself. Yeah, so I'm way happier now in the 3 years that I've been on it than I ever was before.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man, because you're not the only one, man. Because I think a lot of content creators are in the same boat, too. You know, they love what they do, but they've got this 9 to 5 to pay the bills. But
yeah,
you know, if they were to like swap, they would in an instant. Yeah, if it was to swap places, but you're right, man. With us Polynesians, man, that kind of talent is loads, eh?
Oh yeah,
there's heaps of talent, and I feel like it's all bottled up.
Yeah,
and it can't go anywhere else, but it's there, you know. And how do we actually make that into something? How do we break that mold? You know, like, because to me it's all underground, right?
Yeah.
We're literally the underground.
Yeah,
there's a lot of underground stuff, ready to go into mainstream, but I think, how do we do that? I wonder. Like, do we have to make our own space for this? Like, how do we make our own space to break out of this kind of this talent bottleneck we've got? You know?
Man, I actually don't know. I think what I have noticed is since I've been on TikTok, I've had. I feel sad, but I've had a lot of opportunities that I've turned down.
Oh, yeah.
But that was because of my confidence, because I only use TikTok as my outlet, and I didn't expect...
For you.
Yeah. And I didn't expect the impact that I've gotten, and the attention, and how people think I'm famous or anything like that. I don't see myself like that, because I'm just a regular person, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird because recently I turned up on a work site, and I always think that no one's gonna notice me because I don't think I'm that big. But man, there was quite a few people that came out of the warehouse, and they were staring at me, and I thought, nah, they don't know who I am. Until one of them comes over and he says, "Hey, bro, are you that guy on TikTok?" And I laughed. I said, "Oh, maybe."
Must be your hairstyle.
Yeah, no, I forget about that too. Can't miss this here. And then he said, "Oh yeah, there's a few girls inside that want to do a TikTok with you." And I'm like, "What? Really?" Nah. And then later on, they all came out and said hi. And what I liked was how they came and pretty much just told me what it did for them. How it's, I guess, in other words, keep doing what you're doing because it really does brighten up people's days. And I'm still getting messages on Facebook and Instagram about that with the videos that I post. Jeez, I forgot where I was going with this. Because I tend to branch out, and that's one of the things. I don't know if Kingston mentioned it, but when we get together, I tend to there's several answers in the different branches, and I keep branching out, and so I get lost. But I remember now. So with the opportunities I was getting, I thought, man, this is probably how how people get out there was they just post videos. Just throw it out there, see what happens, and then people will come along and, hey, man, we want to do a TV program with you or whatever. But I got scared because that's not what I expected.
Right.
And people think, yeah, but you're really good. Like, you can do this, this, and that. I'm like, yeah, but that's in my bedroom by myself. Like, there's no one around, and that's what makes me nervous. As if I'm going to be on set. Like, man, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know. I mean, maybe now I could probably. Me and Kingston, I shared a post with him. It was about the Polynesian Panthers, the program. They needed extras. And I asked him, bro, we should do it. If you do it, I'll do it. And he goes, nah, yeah, we'll do it. And so we sent our details in, and I got picked. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll be there. I texted, I forgot her name. I texted in and I said, oh yeah, sorry man, I can't make it. I'm still in Hamilton and blah blah blah. And yeah, I just choked. Yeah.
You're in the towel.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess if using me as an example, if I keep sharing videos and all that, yeah, someone may hit you up. I guess maybe that's a good way of doing it, because I guess back in the days I did think that if I was going to carry on with music and then dance, that I was going to do something with it. But then I got caught up with work and spent too much time doing that. Not a bad thing. And so I was feeling like, man, this can't be my life. I can't be doing this forever. I've always wanted to pursue in music and dance, and I'm not even doing that. And so once I got into TikTok, all that didn't matter. It was just having that expression. And I guess...
And then when the opportunities came, that's when it turned down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense in perspective where, I'm listening to you talk about what you enjoy, what you love, and when it comes to the crunch, you don't go there. But then you're the type of person that because you said in the beginning of the podcast, it's just I'll just put it out there and just for you guys to do what you want with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to acknowledge your work or something, or is it, or because that relates to you not actually turning up to set for the Panthers thing. It's like there's some blockage. Some block.
Yeah, I like how you put it that way, because when you say that I don't acknowledge it, it's like Yeah, in other words, it's like, oh, just chuck it out there. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, well, that's okay.
So
yeah.
if I save a life, it's okay. I'll save some more.
Yeah, I guess because a lot of people have told me that, man, you don't realize how good you are. And I'm just like, oh, I don't think about those things. I guess that was my way of getting away from the real talk on that part, because I know I am, but I do put myself down a lot. And that may be because of the high expectations I have on myself, but at the same time thinking I can't make it or reach those standards. And that's probably because of my upbringing, trauma, and all that kind of stuff.
Because as well as that these are symptoms of tall poppy syndrome as well. So have you had anxiety along the way, or have you had people like comments, people saying, "No, you can't do that," and "Oh, no, you're useless," or stuff like that, and you just believe it? And that's part of when you talk about trauma, like that can be part of trauma too. Just having that, sort of narrative on your work from when you're a young age, growing up. Because I heard that too, man. I have that too. Like I remember when I was like growing up, because you know my thing, because I stutter. I had a bad stutter when I was a kid. I've only got probably 5% of it now. I talk better now, but when I was a kid, I grew up with this bad stutter through primary and intermediate and all that. So I was always teased that, and that just shot my confidence down big time, because I didn't want to talk, and I didn't want to have a conversation in case I stutter. Then people will make fun of me, because people were making fun of me anyway. But I just kept it in and just rolled with the punches, sort of thing, all my younger school days. So that made me strong in terms of like just try to work around it. Don't. So I just stayed in my own lane, sort of thing. And now it's funny because with the podcast, all you do is talk on the podcast. So it's sort of going against what I grew up on. But it's something I enjoy. So then that anxiety sort of come back, a little bit, especially in the beginning, because sending the podcast out to Spotify and to the world, man, so much anxiety, man, because what people think, because that's the biggest thing. What would people think? And I got that big time, but slowly, because ever since we started in 2019 until now, that process of trying to get rid of that, don't worry about people think, is been coming down slow and slow. It hasn't been. I never cut it off. It's still been there, but it's just close my eyes and press send, and that sort of thing. Like fuck it.
I was the same too. From the beginning, I would take. Well, when I first, I think my first one, good one, I should say, was it was the Laughing Samoans. That was like my first big video. I recorded it, and I wasn't going to post it. I just wanted to see how I looked. And then I waited for a few days, and I thought, oh, man, okay, should I send it? And then I'll question what I'm saying. Should I send it? And I'm thinking, okay, why do you want to send it? Is it because you want to actually share something that you love and you think is funny for the people to be entertained by, or and why would you not send it? If you don't send it, well then I'm just going to be stuck here, trapped in this body, not wanting to show me. That was the other thing, was that's me. Back then I was depressed. I didn't know that, but until closer to getting out of it, because my dad died, and that made it even worse. So TikTok, I guess TikTok saved my life, I guess, because I thought, man, that's who I am. I know it, because that's how I used to be in my happy days before stress and being an adult and putting up with people's crap and
so it was like a bit of therapy as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was. I guess because it took my mind off the things that I kept worrying about work, what's going to happen tomorrow, or family things and all that kind of stuff. So, which wasn't a big deal. It's just, I guess I was trying to line up to expectations on what a man, husband, a father is meant to be, and what society says about men, about being a man. And so I'd focus on all these things, like having to work hard and making sure I put bread on the table and all these sorts of things. And so, TikTok took my focus away from the negatives onto something that can be a positive. You just have to take a risk. And so, like you're saying about just tap it and just see what happens. I thought, okay, I want to post it, but I don't. But if I don't, I'm never going to get out of this pit. I'm always going to be scared. And I'm like, oh, should I do it? Who cares? Fuck it. I don't care. Because, and then after that, after posting it, and then when I saw the feedback on it, I was like, what? Really? Oh, that's cool. And then over time, I realized that I'm the one that was stopping myself from having to step out and doing what I enjoy, doing what I love, and being afraid of something that doesn't exist as well, by that fear of, but that person might think it's dumb or whatever. But like, who cares? Because out of, say, 20,000 people who loved it, there was only one comment that we always focus on, and we wonder, why did they say that? And we try and pick away at ourselves and what was wrong in it. It's like, but how does that one comment have so much, or has a big impact on, the 19,000 or whatever people that loved it? Why do we do that?
Why do we do that? Because, man, I feel that too. Especially recently with our viral episode with Sawan Kaba.
Yeah.
He said something he probably wasn't supposed to say, and went out there.
Yeah.
And, man, all the comments that came on our social media, like all the hate.
Yeah.
Man, that was like, I'm lucky that I got all that hate. Like, we got all that hate now instead of 2 years ago, because it would have affected us more. Like, nah, I'm gonna stop this now because it sucks. Or replying back to everybody and fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about, and that kind of stuff. Like being so emotional about it. Like, but it's funny when you put up the bad comments in that, because see, I've learned from listening to other people say that, especially comments in like YouTube and TikTok, because and Twitter, because these are platforms that you don't have to put your real name.
Yeah.
So people can just say whatever they want, and so you get those trolls there.
Yeah.
That have no profile pic, no information of who they are, just there to just cause shit on the internet.
Yeah.
But the good advice I heard to deal with comments like that, just don't read the comments, or try not to reread the comments, and just leave the comments for the people out there. It's for them to argue and talk about.
And I think I've always said to people that it's good to have resistance when it comes to getting bad comments, hate, and all that kind of stuff, because it means you're doing something right. Because if you didn't, then you're in the same place as everyone else. But because you're stepping out and you're doing something different to everyone else, and then there's that tall poppy syndrome that kicks in. And people don't like it when they see someone that's, I guess, in their eyes, doing better than them. But they're only doing better for themselves. They're not trying to compete to try and be better than you. Yeah. And so, we're seeing things different.
There seems some memes there about that. Hey, like you see them, like, I think there's some that say, like, the only people that hate on you are people that are doing less than you. Hey,
Yeah.
Or not above you, or everyone below you are hating on you.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Eh?
Yeah. And I haven't really had much hate on social media, but in the workplace or friends and family, always get them. And I know which is the banter and which is hate. I like it when it's hate, because it means I'm doing something. I'm doing something good. Just like in the workplace, Like,
So what's the difference in your eyes between the banter and hate? What's the difference? I know what the difference is, but how do you feel that? Why would you say the banter I can deal with it better than I like the hate more than the banter? Why?
well, I say I like the hate because it's letting me know that I'm doing something good or doing something right. With banter, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person receiving it too. I guess because maybe the banter I thought was funny was actually hate. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, I've always thought that it shouldn't really matter what the person say. You should question how it makes you feel and how you receive it, because you're the one being affected by it. So you can either listen and let it allow you to take over your emotions and make you feel a certain way, or you can just laugh about it or just ignore it. So yeah, now that you put it that way, yeah, I kind of don't care so much. If I think the banter or the hate is funny, then yeah, I'm gonna connect with you and go with it, because I think it's real funny. And so I don't know. I guess that's my defense mechanism. I guess.
I like how you said, like, you get all these comments and there might be 70% positive.
Yeah.
Then you get that one negative one and you just focus on that one there.
Yeah.
Like, what is he talking about? Like, and you get stressed there.
Yeah. And then you start trying to
That's funny, eh? Like,
pick away at what's wrong with you.
yeah, but it's like, because I had that feeling too when that happens, and I always think to myself, okay, stop. Why am I thinking about this one comment?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like I need to educate this person.
Yeah.
But then, that's a waste of time.
Yeah, there were times in the past where I would, like, even if it wasn't about me and it was about something, and their opinion comes across and it was totally wrong, there were times that I would jump in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was not to try and prove that I'm right or anything. It was just trying to, hey, well, maybe look at it from this angle. And it ends up being a debate and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't mind debates as long as both parties can speak from a logical perspective, then using your emotions. Because once the emotions come in, once people get too personal, then that's where you should just stop it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let them win, because otherwise it's not going to go anywhere.
And you need the best space for that conversation to happen, eh? And it's funny because we know this. But the comment section on social media, that's not the place for it. Yeah. It's never ever the place to have those conversations.
Yeah. Even though you want to and like you feel like you should, it's like, nah, don't. There's no point, because you're just wasting your energy. And at the same time, with you debating with that person, you'll be picking up on their vibe as well, and you don't want any of that in your life. Yeah.
And plus, I feel like sometimes it happens a few times when the people speak for you. Sometimes, the replies under someone's comment. Yeah. Hey, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. Someone else, like you're about to reply, but then someone else replies.
Yeah, that's where I step back. Sweet.
Got my back, man.
Because now I'm not going to look bad because of what I'll say. That's probably emotional.
And that's the thing, Like, I remember when we first started, like, I always, because there was advice like, always reply to your comments, always reply, because you want to acknowledge your listeners, or people like that. But yeah, they say that, but what happens to the negative stuff? Do you reply to them? Like, no one says about the negative stuff.
Yeah.
But so that's what I started to do, like, do a heart and say thanks or blah blah. But do it to everybody, just to.
Yep.
Because I think that at that time that was the kind of like advice going around, no? Yep. But then when you get too many comments, when comments start coming, and you get the negative ones as well as the positive ones, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna still reply to every. So I said, nah, there's got to be a line. I'll draw a line. Like, okay, no more comments are just for the people. Yeah. Like, because it's cool, because in YouTube, when you set up your video, you can tick whether you want comments or not.
Oh yeah.
So I always say yes to all. I want all the comments. Do you want to screen the comments? No. I want everybody to comment, like good or bad. I don't care. Yeah. Just everyone comment, because I'm not going to reply to anything. I just let it for the people to talk about it.
Yeah, and there are ways of dealing with those people that are real negative in their comments. Like, you can either fight fire with fire or just do it with love or respond with a positive about the person maybe. And then just kind of work with that. Because if you're just going to react to what the person is saying, then all you're doing is fighting. It's going to get worse and worse. So there's no point. Because, we get that a lot in our lives with some of the negatives. And I think it's probably best to ignore it or maybe respond to the person, like if you're wanting to help that person because they clearly can't see anything from where they're at, then maybe respond to them with love, maybe be positive about that person and make it more personal in your conversation, so it makes them feel that you're meeting them at their level and not you above them, trying to pull them up to yours. Yeah. Man, you learn all this on the way, eh?
Yeah.
Because, from the beginning, man, I knew nothing. I was following Kingston
and
his stuff because I didn't know if there was a way that you're meant to do stuff, like a formality with TikTok.
Right.
Because I posted and then I'll just watch everyone's videos and see what they do. And then I thought, okay, I'll try and do that stuff. And then I saw Kingston. He was doing the Once We're Warriors stuff. And I thought, man, that is funny. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'll copy that. I'll do that. And then he was doing some other ones. And then I'll try and do that. Because I had no idea I didn't know it was just a platform where you just share and post anything. And, that's... it just went off like that.
Yeah, I really can't make what TikTok how it affects me and that. All I know is that those scroll, and you get those 10 seconds of, if it's uninteresting, you just scroll.
Yeah,
like it's that short attention span sort of thing, eh? So I know that if it has a hit in the first 5 seconds, then you're gonna keep on watching there. And there's so many.
Yeah,
that everyone's algorithm is different, so you're gonna see different things.
Yeah,
like your feed will be different to mine, depending on what we like. Eh?
Yeah, and what we like, and because I just learned this recently. If you watch the full clip, then you're gonna get clips.
Right.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watch stupid clips, and I'm just why, and then I keep getting all that stuff. Oh, that's why.
It's funny how you said like you followed Kingston. You didn't know what to do and all that. But man, so going back to the comments thing, like some of the comments were people saying that I don't look at the comments, but I just happen to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't help it. You just happen to read it. Fuck. But there was this guy that said something about like, oh, how can you let the guest ask you a question? Isn't that your podcast?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking, hey, there's no rules to, that's where I'm coming from. There's no rules to it.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. It can
be
a podcast can be anything you want. Like if this is not an interview podcast, okay? This is a conversational podcast. Like goes which way.
Yeah,
I don't have questions that 3-hour podcast. I don't have a whole bunch of questions to last me 3 hours. Yeah. All we're doing is jamming, man. Just jamming.
Yeah, that's how we are with the panel. And why people don't like what we do, say when it comes to Kingston, because like for me, I've always thought that we're not gonna follow the plan of how things are meant to be done,
like on TV and
like that's not us.
Yeah,
and we've noticed that it ends up being a really good night whenever we just freestyle and just. Instead of having a structure, when we became registered as a charity, we noticed that we were a bit too strict on some of our sharing, where there was
holding back.
Yeah. Because before it was we were just flowing, and people enjoyed. Not that they didn't enjoy what we were sharing. When we were structured, it just made it more fake for us. Like we were trying to line up to how they do it on TV.
Yeah.
where we were cutting back on how we say things and how we deliver it. Like a lot of people didn't like the way Kingston will speak with the F-bombs and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But it's like, but how is it that you care about what, say, he is saying when you use the same language in your household or all that kind of stuff? Like, just because on TV you have to be a certain way, that doesn't mean we have to be the same. We're not on TV. This is just how we do. If you don't like it, then don't watch.
Yeah.
You know, and because we're just a group of individuals with different, experiences and whatever. We're not trying to line up to a narrative of how things are meant to be done. It's just we're all different. Everyone out there watching, we're all different. People agree with what we do. People don't, but they enjoy watching what we do, because I guess it fits. It's a good fit for everybody, where it's not just, say some of us believe that God is real and then some of us don't. We're not just going to get the believers. We're going to get those that don't believe as well. And it's, we can still get along.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can with your non-believers in your family, then why can't you be like that with everyone else?
When I was talking to Kingston about it, like, it seemed to me that the panel was about that, about people with different ideas, different arguments on the same panel, because you get a better understanding on different point of views.
Yeah.
So if you would bring up an idea and Kingston would disagree, this is a place to talk about.
Yeah.
Was that what the basis of the panel is about? But as it relates to the issues happening in our communities.
Yeah, because there was stuff that one of the members will bring up that some didn't agree in our group, but it was a good way for each other to understand our points, whether we agreed with it or not. But the main idea for having the panel was myself and Sal. We were doing battles, there's TikTok battles and all that. I wasn't into them because, no hate on the people that do it. It's just, I can't sit there and just beg for everyone to give me gifts, because I feel, but that's probably because when I got on TikTok, it was so I can entertain the viewers. And so sitting there and begging, I can't do that. It's cool, because whatever you guys are doing to make that happen, that's cool. But that's just not me. But we'll do it just for fun. But I would always do something in return. Like I can't sing. I like singing, but I like being a clown and jamming. And so I'll just do it. And then, I was winning by doing that. And then Sal would just, come on, guys, let's go team, blah, 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 just for fun. And she wasn't into it as well. It was just us just jamming on TikTok. And then one night we thought about, she brought up, hey, she really wants to do something with mental health to try and help the people and all that. And I says, why don't we just do it? I don't know how, but I thought, well, why don't we just do it? We'll do it now. And I thought, if we can, I thought that maybe the best way to do it is to just put yourself out there so people know that, damn, you're not just a funny guy. You do go through stuff like everyone else. Because we're all the same. It's just we will only show what we want the people to see. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but that was my idea. I thought, why don't we just do it and we'll just share and see what happens with it. And then, we did. And then she received a lot of feedback on that night where we were sharing stories. And it kind of just branched out from there. So we got together one night and there was 4 of us in the box and we just started sharing. And then more feedback came in, and then radio stations wanted to interview us and other TV programs and all that kind of stuff. But we just put it off because we're like, hey, look, we're not a registered charity. We've only just started. Maybe we'll just put that on hold. So yeah, and I've always wanted to do that too, where I can interact with people and try and help them. Because I've come out of my stuff, it's like, man, I want to be able to show the people that, hey, this is what I did. I'm not saying this is the right way, but hey, there are several ways of getting through stuff, whether it's seeing a professional or just changing your lifestyle or whatever. So yeah, it was just by us sharing stories of our experiences, I thought that would be a good way to make people feel confident knowing that they're not the only ones going through it. And that you don't have to be ashamed and have to keep that in your closet, because we've all gone through something. Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought of making it into a podcast? So all the episodes can be on demand and you can listen to back episodes and all that.
Yeah, we have thought about it. We just, I actually don't know how to go about it with that stuff, but yeah, that is on the list. And it's, kind of hard to get together as well because of our busy schedules.
Yeah.
But
so it just suits it to be online and it's easier.
Yeah.
To jump on Tuesday night and just jam it.
And then we're going to try and use another platform because of recent events with Kingston being cut out.
That's interesting, Because when I think about social media platforms like TikTok, like they have all the tools to make people, like that Stitch tool they have.
Yep.
And they get people to stitch up other videos and they comment on it.
Yeah.
And even with Kingston, with his battle with someone stitched the battle between him and Steven Setsu.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make it into like a thing, on social media. But see, it's those exact tools that the platform makes to allow cancel culture to happen.
Yeah.
So I get the cancel culture thing, and I don't agree with it, but I get it.
Yeah.
But it just gets too much when you're canceling guys like Kingston.
Yeah.
Because if you look at deep down what his message is, it's the message deep down. You're not understanding. Because when he came on our podcast and talked about it, he explained it real well. And I put a snippet up on social media, that part, what he said.
Yeah.
It's the message. Like if you're angry at what I'm saying, maybe you're related to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's something that made you angry because maybe it's true.
It's irritating the demons.
Yeah. Or something like that, But that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's never, people always miss the message and always hear how it's delivered. Because everyone, we all have good intentions in the message, but it's always delivered in the wrong way. And say for him, because of his passion and I guess frustration and the language, people get offended by that. And it's like, man, you should be mature enough to know what he's saying. Because how come everyone else, most people understand what he's saying, but you don't? So maybe you need to grow up a bit because you're missing the point. You're listening to how it's delivered and not the message.
And it's pretty sad that they have this tool that they can cancel if they upset the.
But you can stitch and cause.
Yeah, but you can stitch and cause all that stuff,
Yeah,
like it's crazy how social media is like. It's all because I understand social media is all about the platform getting the views, getting the likes. People think they're getting the likes. Like I'm getting likes and you're getting likes. No, the platform's getting the likes.
Yeah.
Because the platform needs people on it.
Yeah.
The platform can't survive if people are not on it.
Yeah, we're doing a service for the platform.
Exactly. So they can click all the data and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they can sell it on to the advertisers and all that kind of stuff. Like that's basically how Facebook works. That's why they're rich. They're feeding off our likes, and the likes are not for us; it's for them.
Yeah,
that's how I always think of it. And when you think of it like that, it changes everything.
Yeah, it's how you put it. That's a good way because then it stops you thinking that you need the likes to make you feel a certain way or to feel valued.
Yeah.
Because that's sad how people get distracted by those sorts of things with the likes and all that, because then you start depending on not just the likes but even people, because when you take all that away, man, you'd be devastated. You'll be so messed up, feeling that you're not good enough because you're not getting the likes. People look at you a different way and all that. So it's like, man, those sorts of people shouldn't be on social media if they're not secure enough in themselves. So we talk about, man, everything on the panel, even that kind of stuff too, with like security, or even say bullying. That always comes up on the live. And I know I branched out there, but with the bullying thing, you can't stop that. You really can't. But what you can do to prevent the effects of it is to maybe build your kids up and reassure them every day that they are good enough, they are awesome, and teach them how to speak positively about themselves. Because you know how we're in school and we always get teased and people say, oh, you're useless, you're ugly, you can't do anything. We hear that every day in school. And it's like, well, of course we're going to line up to that, because we're not hearing enough from... I'm not saying that our parents didn't do enough, but we haven't been taught how to invest and build ourselves up by what we believe, because that should be the only thing that matters, is what we believe in ourselves. So then when we do get all that negative comments, then it shouldn't affect us, because that doesn't line up to what I believe.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's just words.
Yeah, it's just words.
And in the way we're living now, in this modern day age, words has been a lot these days, eh? Like, words can actually kill you.
Yep.
Kill people, eh? Words kill people. And I don't know if that's because of the way kids are brought up, especially the what they call it, the millennial generations. How they're brought up more protected.
Yeah.
So they're not used to being hurt.
Yeah.
Because their parents are like, especially the white parents, they wrap them in cotton wool and
take them out of the schools.
That kind of stuff, you know, and like they don't know what it means to have a fight. They don't know what it means to play bull rush on the field, because even that game got banned in schools around New Zealand. You know, like just like I just think when I was growing up, like it was rough. You know, we walked home, everyone walked. Yeah,
you learned how to stand up.
Stand up for yourself. If you get bullied, then you get in a fight. Well, if you get punched, then and you go home and dad had a fight. What happened? Did you punch him back? Or, you know, you know. I mean, it was that kind of era. Hey, when I was growing up, like, and I think when it comes to bullying, it's bad, but sometimes that strengthens you. If you get bullied, like, like you got the resilience to fight back, and they say fighting back is not good. Right, but sometimes you have to stand up for yourself in a way where if you can't, then do it. If you don't, well, then that's okay. But what I'm trying to say is, bullying is a hard topic these days, because I believe in old school ways. You know, you fight back.
Yep. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
When I got bullied, I didn't fight back. I was too scared of my dad, because not that he never laid a hand on me, but he was those guys where he walks into the room and you could feel the presence. And so you just feel intimidated. So he can do it with his presence and just him speaking to you calmly. He didn't have to raise his voice. But he always told me never to get into a fight. And there was all these other things that he said as well. And I took that. So when I stood there taking the beating, getting spat on and all that kind of stuff, like I knew I could have dealt to you, but I was scared of my dad on how it would, I was scared of his reaction. So I guess it affected me, and it probably did more good for me as well, because when I saw that I was using the same principles with my son, I had to stop, and because I was too hard on him. You know, I didn't want him to express his anger, didn't want him to cry and all that kind of stuff. But then I realized that, man, when I didn't express in those moments when I was a kid, it did more bad than good, because all that energy had accumulated up until my adult years, and it all came out in the wrong times. You know, someone would say something, I don't know, you're black. Oh, that did affect me back in the days, but if someone did say that, man, I'd lose it. And it wasn't just because of that. It was everything that was packed up that I didn't let go of. And so then I learned, you know, I just got to leave him. If he's having an angry moment, then I'll, you know, let him have it. But I'll even talk with him and teach him how to not let the emotions take over. Because, yeah, growing up, I never had those moments where I could express how I felt, which made it worse. So with the bullying for him, I showed him couple of judo moves.
Yeah.
And I said, only use it if you have to do it. Because he always says, oh, should I punch him? I said, no, because you don't know how to punch. That's how you get hurt. So, yeah, showed him a couple of things. And, yeah. And then because he was about 6, I think, 6 or 7, the bullies were, I think they were like 10 or 11-year-olds. And they would tackle him and then kick him. And he wouldn't do anything about it. He wouldn't cry. So I thought, oh, yeah, that's my boy. You know, didn't bitch out. Nah. Yeah. And because it was happening frequently, I showed him those moves. And then my wife told me that, hey, you know the thing you showed him? Yeah, he did it. So what? Because I wasn't expecting him to do it anytime soon.
Yeah.
And then he told me what happened. And then, yeah, he stopped being bullied just because of that. You know, and so I wish, you know, my dad would allow me to use the stuff that he taught me, but I wouldn't because I was afraid of his reaction. Yeah. But it was probably a good thing not to, because if I had let loose, I probably would have gotten carried away because of all that baggage of anger. And then I realized, man, so that's why my dad was like that with me, because I thought that if I could tame this beast of my son, then he'll be a conservative, you know, well-mannered adult. But I realized that, yeah, but that was hard for me because it came out in the wrong times. And so that's when I realized, man, I got to stop doing that. So I'd question how my parenting and, yeah, change it. The difference this time with my kids is that I have a relationship with them. I always talk with them. With me and my dad, we didn't really talk. I took orders, like, and there's no, I love my dad. Everything that he did for me was awesome. It's just sad that we didn't have a relationship until recent years before he died. And I realized too that, well, because his parenting skills is this way, he must have picked it up from his old man as well, the same way. And so, you know, I don't blame him or anything like that. I just knew that, okay, yeah, I need to change my way so that I could use some of that, but making sure that I have that relationship with my kids, because, yeah, that was a huge loss for me growing up, was that I didn't have a relationship until, yeah, recent years. My sisters did, but, yeah, I didn't.
The environment changes too, because I remember a lot of environment changed after the no spanking law came about, and they changed a lot, especially for Polynesian people, because especially for Samoans, because when that kind of discipline is the main form of discipline in households, the spanking stuff. So, that's how I grew up, and I think because I'm similar to you with my dad, because I never really talked to him. We never really talked much.
Yeah.
Because he was always a quiet guy, had his beer and watch TV and stay home and then go to work, just come home. So I never really had the long talks with him and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but I think with the environment he came from, like he came from Samoa, so there's a different environment coming to New Zealand and living in this world, and and then it's different. You can't really. It's the kids when he was in Samoa. it's different lifestyle, no?
Yeah.
And living in New Zealand, seeing us kids, he's probably thinking in his head, man, you guys don't even know what hard life is, So he's got that mentality. So he's probably happy with us. We're not living that hard life back in the islands. We go to school, we will play out, but he'll think, man, my dad would have beat me up if he did that, But but his way was a softer way.
Yeah.
So how he was brought up. So, and then when it was time for us to have kids, grow up and have kids, we're in the no smacking law days now.
Yeah.
So now we have to find a different way of, because our kids are brought up in a different environment now.
Yeah.
Because now there's more in schools about in discipline in schools. You can't smack at schools anymore. Because when I was at primary, the teachers could smack us,
Oh, wait, was that here?
Yeah. I remember in primary, the teachers were allowed to. So
What?
So intermediate, not, in high school, not. But it's different now. It's a different environment now.
Yeah.
With the kids.
Yeah.
And how we bring them up, and especially with the bullying thing, there's a lot of rules around it now in schools, and with diversity now, so there even extra things added on.
Yeah.
Like even with the way teachers handle kids now. Like when the kid plays up, and starts trashing the classroom. The rule is for the teacher to grab all the other kids and take them outside and leave the kid inside to smash up the classroom. Like that's the thing now, because you can't hurt the other kids.
Yeah.
Whereas back in my day, they'll just grab the kid by the collar and throw him outside if he plays up. So. But I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out that I think the way we parent now, we have to adapt with the environment, with the times.
Oh.
Stuff like that,
But they don't see it when you do it at home, though.
No.
No.
No, they don't. But it's still a changed environment. Like the kids are growing up in the internet days now. They're more on devices now. So with our parents thinking, man, if you guys were in the islands, now we are thinking, man, if you guys had no internet.
Yeah. Well, even just the government having to change different rules and stuff, and coming up with all these things where we're basically losing more authority over our own kids because of what the government are allowing. Just when you brought up the whole environment, forgot what you said.
The no smoking law.
Yeah, the access to internet.
Oh yeah.
And how everything's going up on the net now. You can learn anything. You don't even have to go to school. You got YouTube, you got TikTok, man. You got everything, and it's it's like how when I say losing our kids, where we're losing not control, I guess.
Losing the attention, I guess.
Yeah, well, the authority, because the government says at this age children are allowed to do this, and children will use that against the parents and all that. I think about sex education in school. I'm against that.
Do you believe in a certain age?
To have sex?
No, to have sex education.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. For me, it was just...
Or is that something the parents should do?
Yeah, I think the parents should. I did with my daughter. Because, I thought of it like how, when you're teaching kids what happens in the act, sex wasn't a thing until you brought it to their attention. And then, that's just going to make kids want to have a play. See what's up with that. It's like if you were to, you can't not think that a group of boys are not going to play with a gun if you had it right there and say, don't touch that, okay? I'm just going to go off. Man, they're going to be playing. They want to figure that out.
Yeah.
And they've seen what it can do. But yeah, with sex education, it's like, okay, if you're going to have sex, just make sure you're protected.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you'll have kids. And it's like you're preparing them.
So if they get the information too early, they're going to try to suss it out.
Maybe. Or if you were to maybe teach your kids the importance of like being secure in yourself, then you wouldn't feel the need to have like that type of attention from the opposite sex to make you feel good. Because you know how it is when you get attention from a girl or boy or whatever, you gravitate towards it because you're getting something that you never got, maybe.
Yeah.
And feeling good about who you are. And it just keeps leading you into different stages that's but too soon in a relationship. I didn't want I told my daughter, look, if you're uncomfortable with learning that stuff in school, just walk out. And yeah, they're going to tell me and mum, but, you know, we'll explain to them why or whatever. And I had I thought I was the only one that thought like that with being against sex education. Had a couple of mates at work thought the same way. And I thought, whoa, that's cool. Because I thought it was just me maybe being a bit religious or just thinking about my experiences and how feelings led me into sex. Because I think sex has been abused, you know, in the wrong way, because it does more than just feeling good. Like, it's good, but we should be using it that way, because you're not only connecting with that person physically, it's spiritually, emotionally, and all that kind of stuff. And if you're always feeling the need to have to keep jumping the fence, hooking up with other women or men, then it's because of your past, you know, something, the lack of, let's say, if men keep sleeping around, it could be a security issue, or maybe a lack of relationship with their mum or something like that. And so they're needing that void in them to be filled by another female. Because I have a cousin who called me up one day and told me how much he hates doing what he does, but he can't help it. He doesn't know what to do. And I said, bro, I know why. Like, I know why you keep doing it. I said, bro, like, you and your mum have never really had a relationship. She just gives you money, gives you what you need, and then you go about, do your thing. Like, just growing up, bro, seeing how you and your brothers are. Like, man, there was no family at home. Yeah, you guys will eat together, but that's it. You guys do your own business. No one cares about what you're doing. Because, man, the stuff that you and your brothers do, bro, like, man, if my parents found out and heard, if they caught me doing the things that you guys did, man. But no, they didn't really care. And that's sad. And same with females, maybe, why they keep hooking up with men or whatever because of daddy issues. Sorry, I shouldn't put it that way. Like, just not having a father around.
Well, for me, like, with the whole sex education thing for kids, like, I think the worst, for me anyway, the worst thing that can happen, or the most negative thing, or thing that shouldn't happen at all, is teenage pregnancy. Because that's the worst day for like the problems or growth kids have. Like, yeah, there's stories about kids teenage pregnancies and then they come out pretty good, eh? Like, there's heaps of stories like that. So I can't knock that, but I think what happens is that it's a whole timing issue with your experiences in life. Hey, like, for me,
even like, it's backwards that, you know, you've been going to school for like so many years to prepare yourself for the world, but then you end up having a boyfriend at like 13, and then you end up having a kid.
Like, and then that gets thrown out the window. You got to survive. Yeah, and you got to actually start a family. But whether it's by plan or not, but the best choice forward, no matter how bad the situation is, you just gotta stick together and try to work it out. Like, try and find a way to make that kid grow up to be a safe environment, like, for him, like, both mum and dad there. And that's fucking hard, man, when you're that age, and because you got like how many years in front of you. That's a long time for shit to go wrong, for shit to happen, because anything can happen. You know. And I bet you the percentages are low when it comes to teenage pregnancies that they're still with their partner at 50 years old when they're grandparents or something like that, are they? Yeah. Like, I bet you the percentages there is real low.
Yeah, heck yeah. Um,
But as parents, like, do we, like, obviously as parents, we don't want that to happen to our teenage kids, huh? Like,
yeah.
be in that
Oh
situation.
man, I don't want to be a grandfather at 37. Like I know it's normal, but no, like nah, that's nah. Like
Mm,
my 16-year-old shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't happen.
mm,
You know, when you look back in, I guess our poly environments, that's normal um, for those things to happen. Having kids at a young age, whether it's like 18 or whatever, but it's sad because of um, man, that's a setback on yourself, like in your life and the things that you wanted to do. Because you know, when you look
mm.
at some of our parents, they couldn't do anything until the kids move out, and like,
Yeah.
man, that's sad. Like, I think if you have a decent time for yourself, like I don't know, maybe have kids at 25
Mm.
upwards, but not before then, because man, you've only just got out of school at 18 and you're gonna live your life, you know, for a few years and then have kids. Nah, that's too soon. But if you want that, then that's cool. But is that because of the environment that you're in that you only see people at a young age having kids, or you know, because of the environment? If you're living in an environment where there's just gangs, then yeah, you're gonna end up going that way possibly. But like with the yeah, if kids, or, sorry, if young people are wanting to have kids, then is that because of the environment, the stuff they're learning?
Mm. I think it's, I think it's that. I think it's environment. And I think it's, and because I remember when I was at school, high school, like for me anyway, can't speak for everyone, but for me anyway, it was just like a bubble.
Yeah, yeah,
It was so much of a bubble, and I thought that was the whole world.
yeah,
You know, not
yep,
knowing that this, you know, the Earth was just the Earth in the history class or in geography
yeah,
class, but never knowing, but just concentrating on my world, and that was just school,
yep,
the bubble I was in.
yeah.
And
Because
so
if you knew anything outside of that, then it would change your world
yeah, open
and your
your eyes.
thoughts.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And
yeah,
that's exactly what happened to me when I finished high school and went to higher education. Or when I went to uni, because that was like, man, the world just opened up. Huh?
yep,
Mm. And then I just, man, what was I thinking? Like, I could do heaps of stuff. I could
yep.
travel. Or,
That
I
was
don't
like
know.
me with because I'm from Wanganui,
Mm.
and so that's a small town, and I only knew. Well, no, I had an idea of what the world was like outside of Wanganui because my family, we always came up to Auckland because of other family up here, and I loved that there were different. You know, there's a multicultural environment.
Mm.
So many different people, and it was cool. I loved that because being in Wanganui, you know, that's small, and you only know what's going on in that town, and there's not much going on outside of that. Oh, I mean, you don't know what's going on outside, and so I always gravitated towards wanting to move to Auckland, and I did that when I finished sixth form in 2002. I moved to Auckland.
Mm. Did a lot of the kids and had that sort of same thing too? Because when I think of Auckland, because I've lived here all my life, right? And Auckland's just the the biggest city in New Zealand.
Yeah,
Like where else do you want to go? Like everywhere else is
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
small.
yeah,
So why would I want to go somewhere? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but for you lived in a town like that, like there's not Auckland's a big city. Like
yeah.
so there's
Auckland was like
there's always like
not
something.
America, but
Not
it's
America,
like
yeah,
that.
but something
Yeah,
like you can
yeah,
go explore.
yeah. And I think if I thought maybe it's to do with my personality because I'm like half extrovert, half introvert. So
Oh yeah, how does that work?
well, I do like to have time by myself as well,
Mm.
away from people. But then I like to be around people and just socialize and all that.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it was because of that, because in the small towns, man, it's so small, and like you can't. I guess it's okay for people that are introverts and old, where they want to retire, where they don't want to have too much activity going on. Maybe I don't know. I'm just guessing. But for me, because I keep coming up to Auckland now and then for holidays, it was a different environment. And so I like that. I really like the fast pace, a lot going on. Because, yeah, if I stayed back in Wanganui, man, I probably would have. I know my life wouldn't be what it's like now. I'll probably have a lot more kids, maybe. I don't know. But, or, I don't know. Because down there, depending on the person as well, because I'm not into the whole gang stuff, but a lot of my friends are into that. A lot of them went into that, into gangs and prison and all that. But yeah, mine was always about wanting to learn more, get out of this bubble. There's more to life than what's here. Yeah, and being around different people, a lot of different people. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I just-
that bubble thing is a big. I think that's a big factor in teenage pregnancies too.
Yep.
Or that bubble does have to be. That bubble can be anywhere.
Yeah, because if they knew outside of that,
Or their potential.
Their potential,
Because
yeah.
that's another thing too. Education, the potential what they could be,
yeah,
or even finding a passion when you're young. Because when you find a passion when you're young, you're gonna work towards that goal no matter what.
yeah,
Hey, you're gonna love something, and that's another factor too. Because we had a conversation talking about how kids finish high school and they still don't know what to do.
yeah,
Then they go get a job or have a break or go do a course. They find out they don't want to.
yeah,
That's not what they want to do halfway through the course, and they gotta get
Yeah.
out of it. Like, but if you knew what you wanted to do real early, I think that would bypass a lot of the anxieties about sex, and
yeah.
because you have a goal, you have
Yeah.
a sort of
And yeah, like you say about environment, yeah, that plays a huge part, especially with the support of your family and they're having to keep you on that path of what you want to pursue in. Because yeah, a lot of us, there was a lot of things I wanted to do, but I there was no way I was going to reach my goals because I didn't have, I guess, the support of family or friends to help encourage me in that direction. Not saying that everyone needs it, because yeah, there are people that can do it without it. But for some of us, like how we're talking about pregnancy, like I've noticed in island families, what I like about their, I don't know how you put it, like their structures, how they're very supportive and they teach their kids discipline with the support of them having to, hey, no, you need to go to school, you need to keep doing that, you know, and then they end up being doctors or whatever. And some of my families, yeah, we don't have that. You'd have to be some kind of special or, yeah, to be able to stay focused and disciplined and doing what you want to do. So yeah, support, man, that's a huge thing. Yeah, the
But
environment.
that kind of support is not even having the goal of you don't want your kids to be pregnant at teenage years. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even like a thought.
Yeah,
And so they just go along with it, and sometimes it happens. But yeah, I think as a parent, worried about that because I have teenage,
yeah,
and you too, I'm like
yeah, yeah,
constantly worried about this sort of thing happening,
yeah,
because we know what we want the best for the kids,
Yeah.
We want them to be better than what we did when we were young,
yeah,
and I think that's just a progression thing through generations. Always want the next generation to do
Yeah.
better than you, sort of thing. I know with the boys I have, like because they're teenagers too, and the message I gave them was, do you really want to share your money when you got your first job? I mean, you get your first job, and you got no girlfriend, that money's all yours. You can get anything you want. You can afford to buy a car. You can afford to buy your own house. You can,
yeah,
just have your own money for, I don't know, 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Your own money. Don't share. Don't worry about mum and I. We're all right. You don't have to give us any money. It's all yours.
yeah,
Don't share it with no one.
yeah,
Like that was the angle I came in.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, with my daughter, jeez. I don't know
But
what.
having a
it's-
daughter is harder because, that's a girl, female, it's like,
Yeah, yeah. It's a different it's a different game too, because she's my stepdaughter. So yeah, that's a different field where, because of having so many, parents involved, yeah, it does change a lot. So yeah, I guess if things were done my way, yeah, I reckon things would be different because for her, yeah, it's it's like I want to get into it, but I can't. But
Is this the type of topics you talk about on the panel, you guys? Like all these
Yeah.
are like topics that no one really talks about that you can hear, eh? Like
yeah,
it's discussed under closed doors and families and
we
partners with partners, but it's and that's the brilliant thing about podcasting or internet now. Like you can and how Polynesians are doing these podcasts and all that, talking about this, having the panel, like you guys having discussions and open
yeah
about these sort of things, and people listening, man, I go through the exact same thing, or I'm going through the similar thing.
Yeah.
What can I? Because I can't get it from anywhere else.
yeah
And if it's the same topic, but it's a white person talking about it, I can't relate to that.
yeah
You know?
yeah. Yeah, so when we do it, we always try to make people help people understand that we're all different. We don't expect everyone to relate to what we do because we know that we are different backgrounds, cultures, and all that kind of stuff. So there might be some. Oh, actually, when I brought that up, there was some. I'm not sure if she was American. There were some Americans watching, and there might have been some white people from New Zealand as well. And I was surprised that they enjoyed watching us because it helped them understand who we are away from work, or who we are at home. Because they didn't know that we do go through a lot of stuff, a lot of struggles, whether it's trauma, racism, heaps of stuff. And I thought it was really cool that it came from white people. That, man, I just learned something about you guys' cultures, man, and like I really appreciate you guys sharing it. And we thought, man, that's really cool.
And that is cool
Because we didn't expect.
you didn't hear that much.
Yeah.
And it's good to know, because that just enforces another reason why we do it. Polynesians do podcasts and all that and talk about this stuff, because not only do we get to relate to our own people, our communities, we get the people outside to look in and get a bit of understanding on why we like what they think we like, and they get a bit of understanding on why we do the things we do, or why they see things on TV that probably make sense to them, or they hear from their workmates, their work colleagues are weird because they're a different culture, but then when they listen, they're, that's where that sort of thing, eh?
Yeah, and I guess they've realized the level of, there are different levels where for them, their discipline is like, go sit in your naughty corner, whereas with us is, so they're learning that, whoa, like I didn't know that. You know? Oh, you guys aren't violent, I thought you guys always drank, or it's So it's pretty cool that because I with the panel or just me being online, I do like to kind of cater for everybody in whatever I do, whether it's making videos or going live, because I've never really been a person to stay in one group. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's just who I am, because I like being around different people. And so I like that with us on the panel, we it's basically about our poly community. And so it's like, I guess you could say we're doing a service to them. But if anyone that is a non-Polynesian can relate to it, well, that's cool too. You can still be part of it, listen in or whatever. We try and mix it up, and we don't want to. We haven't seen what the formalities are and other things, but we believe in just being ourselves, whether we agree on the same thing or not. because it really doesn't matter. We're not here to try and convince anyone of anything. It's just us putting ourselves out there with our different experiences and different levels for anyone out there who can relate. And, you know, we're always there if you need help. So yeah, we enjoy doing it. It has been a bit of work to keep up with it and keep each other on the straight and narrow. But it's really cool because as long as we keep remind ourselves of why we do it, because from the beginning, when we first got into it, the first few weeks, we loved it because the banter and the entertainment that it brought to the people, we loved that. Just the banter and then even being real at the same time. Because, no hate on the other groups doing it, but some people have said that they found it boring with other people's stuff because it was either too serious or it was just funny, but it wasn't helpful. And so we like to mix it up because, we don't know how to do these things. We know how to be ourselves, and I think that's more important than trying to restrict or have these rules against, say Kingston. Hey, you can't have your talk like that. There are some people that have asked us if he can brush up or whatever. We're like, nah, that's if you don't like it, well then you're in the wrong place.
And that's the best thing about what the platform does to these podcasts or these lives that you guys do, because it is real. It's real and raw. Like when you start changing, like see how you guys started. You said you enjoyed it in the beginning because it was banter and serious. It was serious and banter. We just love it. The minute that changes, you got to think about, okay, when's the moment? Because you said how you guys registered as a charity, and next minute.
Yeah. So when we, because I think it might have been a few weeks after that, me and Sal, because we're the ones who started it, we talked about it, saying, she asked me, oh, do you think it's been okay? Like, it doesn't feel right. And I'm like, now that you've said it, nah, it's...
Something's missing.
Yeah, it feels like we're holding back.
Right.
Because we're having to, because we're registered now, we have to brush up on our speech.
Right. Oh, really? Is that the rules of it?
Well, no, that wasn't the rules. That's just what we thought because...
Oh, okay. Because it's official now.
Official, yeah. Because we're registered. And then we saw that we're trying to keep to the time, like on each subject and all. And even if we didn't get through it, we cut it and then we go to the next one. And it just didn't flow. And we always had like, I think it was like 3 or 4 topics that we'd want to talk about. But because of the structure that we created, it was like either was too long. It would take like maybe 3 hours or 4 hours, or it missed the mark on how it could have been more interesting for the people. That was just us and what we thought. The people loved it, but we noticed that we didn't banter enough like we used to. So we thought, man, we need to get back to how we were, because that's what the people loved. And we're not being our true selves, because we're thinking that we have to be a certain way now that we've registered, but it shouldn't be an issue.
No, because you guys registered because of the way you were.
Yeah. And so, And so when we talked about that, because the other guys, they'll just follow whatever we do. But we always keep it a group decision. Like, there's no one higher than the other. It matters to me that everyone has a part to play, and that they can be themselves, and that we have no pressure on each other. Like, if you can't be there, that's okay, because it is a bit of work to be on the panel Tuesday nights when we all have families and work and all that kind of stuff. So that helped a lot too, because when we registered, then there was so much pressure, because we thought like we have to hurry up and just get all these things ticked off and be a certain way. But it's like, but that's where we're going to lose our magic, because people, like you say, people loved us and we were registered because of who we were. but because we're changing, so and it was hard to keep up with the narrative or this facade. And we thought, nah, we've got to scrap all that. I think we'll just pick one topic, and then we'll go from there, see what happens. Because back before we were registered, we replied to every comment that would come up, and that was cool, interacting with the people. And then once we were registered, we started to slowly pull away from how we were.
Wearing suits and then start wearing ties, and Kingston's brushing his hair, shaving,
and not swearing. Because when he was getting hate about that, we were like, nah, bro, like that's you. You came on we got you in because of you. We ain't here to try and change anyone. You know, we're all different, and that's important. Is that we all have our freedom to be who we are. If people don't like it, oh well. You know?
Yeah.
So our goal is to just be ourselves, have fun, and entertain, and hopefully help people out there with our stories. That's pretty much it.
You just said the exact description of the feels vibe for your live, the panel. You know, that right there is how it should be.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. That's cool, man. That's cool because, man, I love that whole process of trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing for me is my favorite part of creating. Like getting minds together and just how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna figure this out. Because we have this podcast called Empty Out the Clip, and it's a podcast between Ave, myself, and Lady and Eric. And all that podcast is about is talk about the week's news, what we thought of it.
Yep.
You know, so we had this all try to structure it out. Like we do an intro and have all this stuff, but in amongst the structuring, we'll just flow the conversation right through it without trying not to segment it in the way where okay, we finished this now, we're gonna talk about this now. Yeah. Like not have that part, but just flow with the whole topics sort of thing. Yeah. You know? So it's trying to get that right. Trying to find new ways of talking. Yeah. I mean, I do the whole intro thing because it's that kind of podcast. You have an intro and you do all that, introduce. Because I know it's just the way we've chosen to do it. Yeah. But I know that there's no rules to it. You don't have to be like that. Like for this podcast, back on 1 through 5, I didn't have an intro. Like I didn't even intro. Yeah. Because the intro is going to be in the description and the notes. Yeah. So people click on Spotify, they'll see who the guest is and what they're all about. They'll read it. They don't need to repeat what we're saying on the podcast.
I was doing that. So when we first got on, we didn't. We did the intro, and then we noticed in the comment section people were asking, "Oh, what's the what are you guys talking about? Who are you guys?" And then after our meetings, we thought, okay, I'll do the intro, and then like every so many minutes, because man, we were getting like a total of I think it was like under 25K. Watching every Tuesday nights, and like because we're getting people going in and out and people asking during the live, we thought, okay, maybe I thought the first thing was, okay, someone needs a signal when I need to do it, and then they did it, but then it kind of got messy, and, and then I thought, okay, maybe every 5 minutes I'll do an intro, but it kind of worked, but I thought, I don't like to cut someone off, be like, oh, hey, hang on, intro time, and then do the intro. Like it just don't want to cut the flow when someone is already in their storytelling. And so lately it's just we just get into it. But we'll figure it out. You know.
But but that whole for me that whole thing is fun to do, to try and figure it out. Try things out. If it doesn't work, go another way.
And it's funny too with the banter that goes with it, because we're like, oh, it's just funny how one of the things that cracks us up and what people love watching was that Sorry, bro. So Kingston, he would share, right? And then there's a bit of a pause. Me and Sal will try and jump in there to fill that void or to try and keep the flow. And I guess because of the delay with TikTok, with the audio, for us, it seems longer, and maybe for him, it's a little bit short. Yeah. He felt that he needed to carry it on because no one was saying anything. And then we'll go to say something, and then we get cut off, and we're just like, we're just cracking up, giving each other shit. Yeah. And then he'll do it again, he'll stop, and then we're like, okay, that's our cue. And then he'll come in, and we're like, oh, shame. Let's crack up. So it's like, it's kind of messy, but it's real funny. To us and even the viewers.
So that's part of the whole show, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Just
you make that part of the whole show.
Yeah.
And I guess that adds to the rawness about it, the realness about it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Which I love, which I love because I can't stand TV, man. TV and radio.
Yep. Man, I haven't watched TV in years.
I think no one has because everyone's on Netflix or on demand.
Man, you can watch movies on TikTok. Just scroll on the scenes. Yeah.
It's funny because I remember when our first episode of the Intel Clip, because we had a whole different concept there. We're just going to get random people on and just talk about.
Yeah.
Because the thing was a half an hour show, because that's your drive to work, half an hour.
Yeah.
So you can get in your car, flip it on, half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And stuck in traffic in Auckland. You probably get through your episode in 30 or 40 minutes. So that was a good time to have the podcast episodes. So you can fit all in one trip. So that's what we went to. So the thing for that was 15 minutes for each topic. We have 3 topics, 15 minutes each. And we were going to go hard, like giving our points in that 50 minutes. Sort of like the ESPN show, the Pardon My Interruption.
Yeah.
Like when you have those certain time.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like that. And then it just evolved to now. Now it's like hour and a half, and that's it.
Yeah.
Try to do hour and a half.
It's funny how you brought up about keeping it 30 minutes because people can listen to it and all that. That was like me with like when the 3 minutes came in on TikTok. I always stuck to the minute because a lot of us don't have, depending on how interesting the clip is, we'll watch it. But I stayed on a minute because, because a lot of people love watching short clips. I stuck to that with if I was doing Laughing Silence because I tried to do, I think 2 minutes, but it was a bit too long in making it for me because of me having to break down or try and make sure I get my expressions right and all that. Because like a minute to me is like maybe an hour and a half of trying to get it right.
Yeah.
So if I went to 2 minutes, that's just too long. Because if I'm going to spend 3 hours on TikTok, I want to be able to make at least 2 videos. But in my early days, I'd make like 4 a night. And that's probably why I was able to get more viewers and followers back then, because I learned that to get that, you have to keep posting.
Consistently.
Yeah.
I've heard 2 things about that. Like, sometimes the consistent thing can be a detriment because people don't want you on your feed all the time. Yep. And then it's also like you need maybe a day in between the posts or something like that.
Yeah.
But then other people say, oh, nah, you should keep posting every time.
Yeah.
Because you only get the hardcores.
Yeah.
The people that drop off are the people that not really into you in the first place. They're just interested in maybe one thing, but that's not what you're about.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get the hardcores or you're trying to get everybody.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
it's.
Back then, I did it just because I'd see something that's funny. Like, oh yeah, I'll do that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll do that one too. So I was excited for that and how it was making people feel. These days, just been hard because there's so much going on in my life. Not bad, but just taking up my time. Like I made one Thursday night, I think it was, or Wednesday night. Auntie Tala, I did that one. I hadn't done Laughing Salmons in maybe 6 months. Yeah.
Well, what kind of feedback are you getting for Laughing Salmons? Because I think it's refreshing to see you do it because these are old jokes that you heard ages ago. Now that you're bringing it back, sort of thing. Hey, like it's reminding people it was a thing. I remember these jokes that were said.
Yeah.
You know.
It's always been positive.
Hmm.
Just everyone loving it, just cracking up, and yeah, my expressions and how I lip sync. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And just how much they loved Laughing Samoans, and they thought, man, yeah, no, I'm gonna start watching them now. So it was pretty cool that bringing them back for the people. Because man, I didn't like, I forgot how long ago they came up. I don't know how long they've been around for. I know it was like 2006 when I first saw them. I think it was a small Samoan wedding, and then there was old school. Yeah, I can't remember. Back in the days when Tofinga was breakdancing.
Oh yeah.
When he had hair. Oh man, that was crack up.
Did they reach out to you? Have they reached out to you?
Did he? Oh, Sal, she's that's his uncle, Tofinga, and so yeah, he wants us on his radio. Nah, he hasn't reached out. He has shared some of my videos.
Yeah.
I thought, whoa, this is cool, because to me, he's a celebrity. He's famous. I think I've always loved his work because it's just funny. No, I guess because I can relate to it, because it's my humor as well with how I am at work and with my friends, and it's just like watching my dad. He's similar too, and my uncles, and my aunties, and my mum. Oh man, that's probably why I loved it so much, was just that connection, and that relation. Yeah.
Yeah, you went back to doing this 1 minute. That's
Yep.
probably a good thing, Because I've realized that, like the short time span things. But for me now, it's harder because I need to find the right
Yep.
right short clip now.
Yep.
And I think the first words are the most important things now.
Yeah.
The first 3-4 words
Yep.
to make them stay.
Yep.
Because it's all about making them stay now,
Yeah.
And if you're talking about 1 minute, 3 minutes now on TikTok, I wonder how many people actually watch 3 minutes of a day.
Yeah. Man, I've probably only seen, maybe in a day, probably 1 3-minute clip. Yeah, each day maybe, depending on how interesting it is. 'Cause I don't know if it's an ADHD thing or what. 'Cause just in there, oh, you're not. Oh no.
I see those guys up in Perth, Western Australia, working the mines. They're doing.
Oh yeah.
There's one guy I follow. I think he's out there working in the mines. I think he's a Samoan guy. He's got some funny TikToks.
Oh, I've probably seen it. Yeah.
But he does those ones where he's by himself, but he acts as like 3 guys.
Yep. Oh no, I haven't seen him for a while. Actually, yeah.
I think he's a Samoan guy. Yeah. But yeah, he does these funny. I think he's bored when he's off work, so he does his TikTok. They're hilarious.
That's cool. It's cool how a lot of those people can just record and do anything. Where me, I can't be spontaneous or just do it.
Oh yeah.
Like I gotta plan it.
Yeah.
Like if I know that I have at least 2-3 hours, I gotta sit there and actually plan it. Like sit there and figure out how I'm gonna do it and all that. Like I can't just get on screen like if you're at work and just record. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just, yeah, I don't have that preparation, that mentality to be able to do it. I think I've tried to do it and I didn't like it because it didn't look like how I did when I first got into it,
Right.
where I had planned it. Yeah, I can't do that. Even Kingston, how he posts every day. Man, I can't do that. Like
On the fly, like he's in his car and talking about shit.
Because I'm always critiquing the way I say things as well.
Right.
And no, that's dumb. And like it took me an hour to try and get out this 3-minute clip the other day where I was just showing some appreciation to the people that came up and say hi and gave me some encouraging words. I didn't want to not say anything because I really appreciated that. Because every other interaction I've had, not saying that it was a bad thing, they always want photos and a little chat and all that kind of stuff, and it's been cool. But this one, I thought it was cool that they came and just told me how awesome, or how much they love the clips, and then how they were encouraging me to keep doing it. Because I stopped doing it for a while just because I kept getting distracted by things, and then I start questioning myself, being like, oh nah, people might be sick of it. And then I'll just have the break. And but then doing that, I started coming up with other excuses for other things that I could have done. And then I just dragged it out, and then now and then I'll just put up a random clip. But yeah, so after that Wednesday, I thought, nah, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Have you talked to Kingston about this kind of like the creative process with TikToks and asked him for advice? Like, obviously you admire like his spontaneousness. Have you asked him for advice on how you could be more spontaneous or anything like that?
No.
Or you just sticking to the way you do things, your own processes, your own process?
Yeah, or actually we did talk about it on the panel when Villy was asking, he was talking about how he wants to make videos, but he didn't know how or what to do, and I guess it was a confidence thing as well. And so I shared about my experience, and then, if you really want to do something, do it. Take a risk, because you never know. You'll never know unless you try what it could do. And then it's like, man, if you want to do it, then that says that you actually have something to share. You want, put it out there. Don't let your feelings and thoughts of what other people could say stop you, because it really doesn't matter. Because I guess even if you didn't post anything, they were still going to be the same way with you anyway. And then Kingston shared a lot about his stuff as well. But yeah, no, I haven't. I might ask him.
Has anyone reached out to you for advice? Being a content creator? Because I like that word, content creator, because that's a word that's sort of overtaken social influencer. Like the influencer word doesn't get good. Yeah. A lot of content creators don't like that word. Influencer, like that word influencer, like even with people that just post like to me, I remember back in the days, influencer was all those guys, those gym guys doing gym
being
stuff.
An influence,
being an influence
in a positive way, yeah.
And then when I had one on the podcast, so I was like being influence. Oh man, I hate that word. And then I started realizing, man, that's the word nobody likes.
Yeah, I didn't like it because I don't like to be put, and I don't see myself to be put in that category, because I don't think I'm that great that that I would be an influence on you. But then there's a lot of negative stuff about influencers as well, and that's not me. But then content creator, yeah, that sounds better. That sounds better, because it's like the focus is on making content than just trying to get out there for the attention, being an influencer and all that. Like, nah.
The influencer to me is a word that's too much focused on that. Like what you're trying to do to everybody. Like what?
Content creator sounds way better.
Yeah, because you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just creating content. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm just creating it. You like it, do you don't like it.
Man, that probably would have helped too. I mean, that should help if I just keep talking to people about, why. Like hearing you.
Yeah.
You just make it and just put it out there.
But for me, like, I just love podcasting. I love, because I loved podcasts when I first started listening to them. Like, I listened to podcasts for ages until before I started my own one. I started this one. I was just a big fan. And I just loved the rawness about it,
Yeah. This is my first one ever.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be on one. Or
it's, I think it's refreshing to me, because I was always a shy person. Like it took ages for us to be on camera, to go on YouTube, because for a whole year, like, we never did any video. It was just all on Spotify, just audio. But we had to go on video because we needed to get out more.
Yeah.
But knowing that wasn't our thing, or wasn't my thing, because I hate being on camera,
Yeah. For me, one of the things that I don't like about podcasts, and it's not a big issue, it's just because for me being on TikTok, I can control the angles
Oh, yeah.
and I can edit out, what I don't like.
Yeah.
But because it's someone else's, it's like, man, I'm trying not to look at the camera to see how I look.
And
Is
it's
it the
worse
right angle
because I
or-
don't care about video.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing too.
But and then like, okay, now I'm gonna be honest. I was putting this off.
Yeah. I think Ovi was telling me. I think Kingston mentioned he's putting it off, man.
Yeah, I do that all the time, and it was a confidence thing. That's all it was, for a whole lot of reasons. Because of a podcast. To me, a podcast are people that have something important to share. To me, that's like up there, and I didn't see myself to be up there. Kingston, yeah, because man, he's been on TikTok for ages. He's shared a lot, been on podcasts, and yeah, that's him.
But see, I don't come in with that kind of thinking.
Yeah,
Do you remember when you came in and
Yeah.
I told you I don't have any questions. We'll just sit down and talk and see where it goes.
yeah.
Like that's what I love about it, about this podcast.
Well, the way you started it, I was like, "Yo, that's cool, man." Because if you would have said, "Okay," so when I would have been like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
no, say the truth, I hate that shit. I
Yeah.
hate all that TV kind of radio bullshit. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah.
This is different. This is not that. This is just two guys having a chat, and it's actually for me, not for anyone else.
Yeah.
It's just out there for everyone else to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like how you say you make content, and you put it out there. Yeah, that's for you guys.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Like this is for me. Like you're here because I want to talk to you,
Yeah. That's cool.
and if anyone else enjoys it, so be it.
Yeah.
That's what this is for everyone else. But this podcast, Back on Revive, is actually for me.
Yeah, that's
So-
cool. Yeah, I've always thought about wanting to get on podcasts, because sharing stuff that's not normal, that's always been my thing, was wanting to share things that's not normal, or that's not a normal thing to do and out there in society, where men can get together and talk about real, because a lot of the times when men get together, it's only about the things on the surface, whether it's sports, rugby, women, or whatever. But anything under that, no one shares that unless someone asks you. But
Yeah.
that's not a normal thing to do as well. Because I wanted to, because I'm that type of person that doesn't care about how I'm going to look, because I can say that, I was sexually abused or whatever. Because that's my past. That's gone. I've already dealt with it. Those are the sorts of things that people don't know how to talk about it. Got to make it the norm. Because why should we be ashamed to talk about something that's our past when it has nothing to do with who we are today? And I know that it's we have a lot of issues that has an effect on who we are today and our future. And so I like having to bring up random things. I like being awkward with people. Like that's what I did with Sal when we first started it. I just went straight into the sexual abuse, and she was like, because she didn't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
And so I do it for my entertainment, being random, stuff like that. And because I don't know if there's a way to slowly move into those sorts of conversations. I was just thinking, just do it.
See,
Just say it.
I'm more interested in how you overcame. Like that's really good what you said. Like to look back in the past and just because there's this thing about trauma. Trauma is a big deal, and if we don't acknowledge it, how can we move on?
Yeah.
That's how the experts say to how to deal with it. And I've heard it. Like you write it down. You write down stuff.
Yeah.
And you look at it because that's in the past. But so to sort it out, you actually have to write it down. Like that was another trick I heard,
Yeah.
to write things down. If you're still thinking about the past, that means you haven't resolved something.
Yep.
And you haven't moved on from it. So
Yep.
I think the thing is to write it down, write how you feel about it, and then read it to yourself, and then just doing that acknowledges that that's in the past, and you can rip up the paper and throw it away and move on.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, that's like this expert way I heard.
Yeah,
To deal with
that's
stuff
like
that.
journaling, eh? Like having to write things each night about your day and how you're feeling and all that. Good way to express yourself and having to get it out there. Because, like with, you know how when women get together, well, a lot of the women that I know and have seen, they can talk about anything and they can go on for hours. And it can be even stuff to do with their relationships and the problems that they have. But when men, we don't do that. We don't talk like that.
No.
But I've noticed that when women do it, that was their answer. They didn't ask for any solutions for their problems. Just letting it out makes a huge difference, because with us men, we bottle it until, I don't know, we get drunk and then for some stupid reason we're at rage.
Yeah.
You know, we respond, we react to things differently. But yeah, it's like if we learned how to talk or make that a normal thing for men to get together and just talk about anything, man, it'll be a huge help.
Or even if we can't talk about to some people, at least write it down. Maybe the writing down thing is the way.
Writing it down, yeah.
Writing it down is the way that you can
face it, eh?
face it too, without talking to someone.
Yeah.
Or realizing, because you know when I told you about how I used to have a stutter,
Yep.
that was a big deal because I never did stuff. My confidence was shot. Like me acknowledging that now, like thinking, man, why do I love podcasts when I didn't want to talk when I was young?
Yeah.
You know, that's something's not adding up.
Yeah.
When I think back where I got teased and all that, how my confidence was gone, my love for podcasts and having a passion for it now overcame that.
Yeah.
But maybe I was supposed to be doing this
Yep.
in the beginning, but because I had a stutter,
Yeah.
but because I had a stutter, it didn't allow me to go that way.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that.
So yeah,
Everything ties in together, eh?
Yeah.
Spiritually and all. Yeah, man.
yeah, man. So I was thinking, fuck,
Yep.
shit, I wasted all these years.
But and then imagine, you know, if you didn't, or like, if you did know back then, would you have still gone in the direction that you have done to get here? Like, if you knew that.
If I knew what I know now.
Yeah, if you knew back then that if you don't sort this stutter out, then you'll never succeed and be the person that this is who you're going to be, you know?
See, that's a hard question for me to answer, because the way I dealt with having a stutter back then was to avoid everything. But it wasn't like I got depressed from it and I got weird because of it. No,
Yeah.
I handled it well in terms of going a different way, like tiptoeing around it
Yeah.
and just going in my own lane. Like not, and that allowed me to not to worry about anything bad will happen. But I was okay with going the way, like it's like I sacrificed
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, not talking, and just go this way.
Yeah. Just because we're talking about this, I just thought about how I believe if I didn't have all the bad stuff happen to me growing up, you know, the rejection, lack of relationship from my parents, and sexual abuse, and all these things, if I didn't have any of that, I wouldn't be this person that always wanted to use humor to get through or kind of get me out of those thoughts of all that trauma. Because I have heard that with comedians, they use humor to get through all of that stuff that they've gone through, trauma and hard life and all that kind of stuff, to keep them going. And when I heard that, I thought, damn, that's what I've been doing. Even if I had, like, say today, Oh, for example, when my dad died, I still kept being positive and funny at work. Like, this is when I got the call and he died.
Right.
And I didn't want to leave then because we were having lunch. My mates were trying to push me to go. And I said, oh, no, I need to finish this off. I didn't need to. But that was just me, where I had a job that I needed to finish. And I needed to make sure that the guys were prepared for the next day. And while I'm doing that, I'm bantering with my friends. They didn't even know, like that some of the other guys, they didn't even know that I just lost my dad. And I'm just trying to get my job done, and they're coming over, making jokes. And I could have just, there were moments when I felt wrong to carry on with being happy and having that same relationship. But then I'd feel wrong if I didn't, like if I didn't, I felt wrong if I was to just be like, oh, my dad just died. To me, that was wrong because I don't want to make you feel bad. But then maybe I should have, but a way for me to kind of deal with it. But for me, it was just, okay, yeah, he's gone, but I'm just going to finish my job first. Guys will come, because they always come over and banter with me because we're always doing that. And I'm still on the high, just being funny with them.
Yeah.
Then as soon as I was done, then I can have my moment when I left to grieve. But yeah, humor was always, that saved my life. Actually, when I thank God. I thank God that my friends gave me the DVDs for the Laughing Samoans back in 2006, because I was going through something back then, and that just took me out of that. So, yeah, Laughing Samoans saved my life back then.
Man, that shows how much you care, because, yeah, like you said, like you didn't want to give that bad vibe to your workmates, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't.
Well, because in our relationship, this is how we are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll share some other stuff, deeper stuff, but it depends on where our relationship is at, because I know that you're not the type of person to want to do that, so I won't go there. But like, because my dad just died, I'm not gonna tell you that because I don't want you to feel bad for me, and I don't want to kill your vibe, because I know what it's like when you hear bad news.
Yeah.
You just feel stink, and
Like you don't know what to do. And like when someone says you bad news,
you feel like you need to do something, but you can't.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I don't like to kill people's vibes.
But then when people talk about the other side of that, like people, man, he was such a good guy, man. When things were happening, he'll never tell us. He'll just act like it was all good. But he was a good, like, man, he was so strong. Like, you know?
Yeah.
That's the other side of, you hear those conversations too. Right?
Yeah, well, me and my mate were talking about bullying, and he heard that I got punched in the face when me and my mates were at in town, I think the year before, and my mate went over to the fight. Sure, I don't know if he was going to try and join in or break it up, but I went over to protect him. Usually I would go over and stop it, but I thought, nah, because times are different now, because young people today, man, they fight differently. Whether if they had a gun, if guns were out there, yeah, they'll be using it. But you know, people are carrying knives now, and so my mate went over, and I followed him because I thought, oh damn, because I wanted to make sure he's protected. So as he got there, I rolled up. I'm just behind him. The dude saw me. He was in front of him. It just hooked me, and there was I felt like I could just go in there and sort them out. But then I thought, man, if I do that, I could put my mate's life in danger, because he'll want to join in, because there was a lot of people. But I instantly thought, nah, I'll grab him. Come on, bro, we need to go. And then my mate was behind me, the other one, and he grabbed me too, because he thought I was going to lose it because of that happening. I think if I didn't learn how to manage and control my emotions, then yeah, I would have just done it. But then, like, I don't know if I'm going to hurt myself or if I hurt the guy or at the same time, my mates are involved, and something bad will happen to them. And so when my mate and I were talking about that time, he said, "Man, I don't know if I'd be able to control myself, eh? Because if I got hit, I'll just get in there. I don't know how you do it." I said, "No, man, it's just." I guess it was my dad, because whenever I felt emotional and angry, he would always stop it. Well, man, he wouldn't have to do anything. He would just look at me, or he would just say, "You cut it out," and then I'll just stop. Like, and he's never hit me or anything, but I guess because of that discipline and that consistency of him having to be there in those moments where I could have lost it, stopped me from allowing myself to get emotional and reckless. I'm not saying that's a good thing, because years later, after coming out from being angry towards certain people in my life, I learned that when I was angry, upset, or unhappy and depressed, it was because of the things that are going on in my life. And so I was projecting or allowing those feelings to be a part of me. So when I'd learned how to manage it or question where these feelings were coming from, I was able to let go of that. Because
you knew where it came from, wasn't...
so it's because I didn't deal with it. I didn't know that it came from there. And so that's what I figured out years later, that because I dealt with where these feelings were coming from, the anger came from my dad not being there for me when I needed him to protect me. And that was because of how I was molested once when I was like 4 by this chick, and then years later it was by a male, and then another time when I was 8 from a teenager. So yeah, the anger came from how he wasn't there for me and how I took it. And I didn't know that I was angry towards my dad. I knew, that I was angry towards him. I didn't know why. And like he wasn't a hugging type of person, but I'll see him, he'd be like, "Oh, hey, my boy," have his arm around me. I hated it. It made me feel like he did something to me, but he didn't. And I knew he didn't. I just didn't know where that feeling came from. Even hugs. Didn't like it. Even my girlfriend at the time, she was a huggy person. I hated it. It made me feel, is it emasculated? Like I felt less of a man. It's stupid, but it's amazing how things in your past can have an effect on your future. Because with that, and even feeling rejection from my mum, and then, all that stuff, I had a problem with physical touch from, my girlfriends. I didn't like it. And that had an effect on our relationship. I was angry, but I didn't know why, because it'd be nothing. It wasn't a big deal with whatever we were talking about, but I'm just full of anger, always full of anger. Until years later, realized that all of these feelings was just stuff that I bottled up, and I didn't know how to handle it.
How'd you connect the dots? How'd you connect that the reason why you're feeling that way with the touching stuff was because your dad wasn't there for you, and that, it seems to me like, you didn't know you were angry at your dad, but only because he wasn't there, those moments in your life that you needed him.
Man,
but how did you connect that?
Man, I always think, and I'm always questioning things. I thought I'd say that because maybe that's a part of it. In connecting the dots, man. So I knew it was in my later 20s when I slowly picked up on where these feelings were coming from and these thoughts. It might have been just from, because I heard about this book called, I think it's Love Languages. So there's physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service. I can't remember the other ones. So, for example, my girlfriend back then, she was a person that loved physical touch, kiss, a hug, or just hold hands, all that kind of stuff. So that's how she feels loved. And then I know people that love things being done for them, whether it's like just having a cup of tea made. They feel loved in that way. My family used to think that affirmation was probably my love language and how I feel loved, because they knew my relationship with my dad that I didn't have. They thought that because of years of trying to win his approval and feeling accepted and loved, that maybe if he told me he loved me, I'd feel better. But I don't think so, because I realized that I loved having time with people, real time, whether it's talking or whatever. Gifts, I'm not a big thing about that. Words of affirmation, I wasn't sure about that, because I do like it, but I always question it. And I don't know why.
The sincerity of it, or where it comes from.
I think that
there's a protective thing coming up when you hear that.
Yeah. So with my the time thing, I realized that it was spending time with someone meant a lot, because I remember telling my wife how sharing stories about certain people in my life that meant a lot to me with the time that they spent. And I remember that when my mum had to send my brother to his dad's when I was 3, and we were always tight. So he's 11 years older than me, and we were always close. When he left, man, you could tell in the photos after that when he left that I was just miserable. And I still remember having to walk down the road looking for him at his mate's house and all that kind of stuff. And then I had a cousin that was, because he spent time with me, one of my older cousins, that meant a lot. And I remember gravitating towards people that spent time with me. And so, I figured that out. I think it was last year, actually, that I figured out that that's my love language, is spending time. Because of the lack of that in my past. With the anger, I guess it would have been because of the lack of relationship. So being angry because there was no connection between me and my dad. Angry because of feeling a rejection from my mum. Mm-hmm. She's still in my life today. Love my mum to death. It's just back in those days when her and my dad were always clashing, I got the end of it. And I guess being brought up in that environment where anger was the norm, because I didn't know until I moved to Auckland and had some family up here question how I think and feel about things and how I reacted. And it was, me being angry all the time. And I didn't know that. I thought it was normal to feel the way I did, being angry and just be straight up blunt with people. I thought it was normal to communicate like that. Until I realized that, man, in our household, there was always a lot of this going on with my parents. And so, I'm going to pick up on the stuff that's being said. And I remember my mum, because we were Christians, trying to be growing up. I remember I swore at my sister. I was like probably 8 or something. And my mum couldn't believe the filth that came out of my mouth. But as an adult, I remember that moment. I was thinking, well, I didn't get it from school because no one spoke like that. It was only from home. But back then, I was never going to say that. Yeah. It was because I heard you say it, Mum. So I guess when I guess connecting the dots came about because I was questioning my ways of, my way of being a father or husband, a man,
Or was it when you first started to have kids, and
Yeah.
then all these, just
I was-
realizing that you had to actually know what this is all about?
It was when I was responding or reacting the same way that my parents were when I was a kid.
Right.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was two different people. And it's like, man, which one am I? Because I didn't like that. I when my son would do something, I would react. And I didn't like it. And I remembered that it was because it was the same thing that happened to me. And so I'd question my actions and even the way I say things to people and try and find out where it came from. Because I remember hearing from, she's like my mum, she's a mentor. She told me to, question your motives. And when you do that, then you'll end up questioning each thing after that. So when I question...
Like a domino.
Domino effect. So when I questioned my action and found out where that part came from, then I questioned that. And then I found, man, then I went deeper.
Then you get to the source of it. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it started from that.
So that's like a detailed version. That's a detailed thing of how to actually get to the bottom of it. Eh?
Yeah.
Like when you said, when I asked, how did you connect the dots? That's exactly how you do it. Eh? Connect the dots like that. When something not right, you say you do an action and you feel like it's not right. Why don't I do that? Then that's the first question, and then it leads down to the source of the whole problem. Yeah. And it's like not 100%. It's going to be in the past, people's past, trauma they experienced.
Because when I finally found out where these feelings came from, I was surprised by how when I realized that, like, I remember everything, all these events that happened, but when I found the connection between today and my past, it's like, damn, then I was set free from that, which I thought was amazing how little things like that can have a huge impact by, having to question your motives and that.
Yeah, and I guess that makes your relationship with your son even better, eh?
Yeah.
Because, learning from what happened with you, or with anybody who's gone through the same thing, moving on from it and doing better for the future. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Is this the type of stuff that you talk about on the panel and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. I do most of the talking.
So what kind of feedback have you got from people from that story? Because I think another good thing like our podcast is people are real. People wanna see. I don't like that word, safe space. I don't like that word. Because I was talking to Kingston and his wife before we jumped on the mics.
Is it condescending or patronizing? Or I don't like it.
I think it's the wrong way of looking at what a safe space is.
Maybe for polys, it's not the right term to use.
Oh, they love that word, safe space.
Do they?
They love it. I always hear it. But
see, to me, like, not being racist, but that to me is like the white way. Safe space.
Well, it's a work way. You put it that way. It's a work way. Because, see, this is what I think safe space is. A place where people can talk about what they agree on because it's safe. The minute you disagree, it's not safe.
Yeah.
So how are you going to solve a problem?
Yeah.
How are you going to solve a problem then if it's going to be a safe space?
Yeah.
Like, see, I think the tensions are there, but the word safe space is...
So safe space, you're using that to make the other person feel comfortable.
To talk.
Safe space.
To talk. But that's the whole point of solving a problem. You got to have two conflicting ideas and and looking at both sides of the idea for the solution to come up with a better solution. But you're not going to do that unless the space, if the space is safe, you're not going to have that. You're not going to have that other person in the room. Yeah. With a different idea, because everybody has to be safe. Everybody has to have the same view. And what good is that to solve the problem?
Yeah, if the intention is to be on the same page. It shouldn't even matter. It's just being in a place where we both can be vulnerable. Or maybe not even use that word, vulnerable. Because it's like with these words, it separates us, like, in the first layer so vulnerable to me is like having to be completely naked. And it's like, nah, like this shouldn't even be a thing. Like we shouldn't even have these terms to try and make a person feel comfortable to be able to share. It's like,
Yeah.
just because then it's like I don't know.
It puts an agenda, I think.
Yeah,
And
it kind of makes it harder too.
because I listened to Kingston's latest TikToks or posts, and it's all about the one was the cancel culture one.
Yeah.
And the one was hurting people's feelings and that.
Yeah.
And if you do that exercise where you question everything, it's gonna lead to those things. It's gonna always lead to hurting people's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you blanket the whole society with hurting people's feelings,
yeah.
fuck, well, how are you gonna actually do anything?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna actually say now? You can't say anything.
Yeah.
So what's the point of saying anything if you can't say anything?
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like don't you guys understand what's happening with all your cancel culture and all your safe spaces and all your,
Yeah.
it's not doing anything good for anything.
Yeah.
The only thing it does good for is for one way of doing something.
Yeah. And it just proves that what the person that's being cancelled, it proves that what they've been saying is right. Because if you didn't think they were right, then you wouldn't have bothered having to get them cancelled. Because you don't want.
Yeah, exactly. And I get it because they want to protect society from people like the mosque shooter. The hate.
Yeah.
The hate that gets people to get together to kill another race.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. See, that is extreme.
Yeah.
I don't see Kingston killing anybody.
Yeah.
So why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Just because you didn't like what he said? Just because...
Or his stance? Yeah.
They're just words. They're not killing anyone. They're just hurting feelings. There's a big difference between killing and hurting feelings.
Yeah.
And, I think it's getting too extreme with the way cancel culture is happening.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, okay, these platforms allow that to happen because they want these people to stay on the platform.
Yep.
The people that actually canceling this guy.
Yep.
Because if they don't, these people will go.
Yep.
More than one person.
Yeah.
Because, Donald Trump's being cancelled.
Yep.
From Twitter. Doesn't matter how many views. He's got millions of followers and all that, Andrew Tate is getting cancelled,
Yes.
Israel Folau got cancelled from rugby. Because he hurt people's feelings, All this shit about hurting people's feelings to me, growing up in the 90s at school, where we stand up to when you actually stand up and fight back on bullies, like that's where I grew up, there's no such thing as words hurting me. Yeah. So
they're getting cancelled because they got nothing. They can't do anything about it, eh?
Yeah, so it's weird. It's a weird time, I think. It's a weird time, and me seeing it on social media is like, to me, it's weird when I see stuff like that happening. Yeah. It's like the cool thing to do, eh? Cancel and woke and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Another thing is like, I get the whole argument with like political correctness and all that, diversity and all that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like, especially with diversity, there's like a hidden agenda there.
Yep.
That's not right.
Yep.
Like it's the white people like using it for their advantage in a way where it's racist.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, what's his name? Dave Chappelle, and a lot of his skits about certain things. It's basically what you're saying.
It seems good on the outside, but if you look deeper, there's like something.
Yeah.
There's something not right, eh?
Yep.
Like I heard the Dave Chappelle joke when he was joking about how, like the LGBT whatever to fight for their rights, But man, black people were here ages before you guys.
Yeah.
We haven't even got our rights.
So why is it that yours has to be?
You guys pushing in the line.
Yeah, but then it's like, well, why is that such a huge deal when, like years ago, it's not like you weren't. I mean, everyone was LGBTQ. Everyone was doing it. So why are you pushing to have more attention? Because all it's doing now that I've noticed in my daughter's school is that it's become a trend to now get into that. And I say, like, you know, we know the real LGBTQ. We know they're real. But then you got all these young ones getting in there. It's like, nah. Either you don't know who you are, you've had a bad time with your family or whatever, and yeah, you're having some identity issue that you feel, well, man, I guess the only thing left for me to do is maybe join the crew.
And I guess that's what they're trying to do, or feels like what they were trying to do. Like if you can't identify with anything, here's something you can identify with. We just made it up last week.
Yeah, yeah. It's because, man, like before that became a thing, man, there was only maybe a couple in the school, her high school, but then once that came in, everyone is now in it. Everyone is but then I know people will say that, but they were probably in the closet. They probably weren't comfortable. It's like, no, because kids these days don't know who they are now. They're listening and following to whatever the social media is going. They just follow trends. I mean, already they're using our style, our fashion, the 90s style, man, in the 2000s. Like, what? And they think it's theirs. Nah, that was ours. You find your own.
See, I thought we were just worried about teenage pregnancy. Now we've got to worry about all this stuff.
Oh, it's stupid.
But yeah, man, I've had conversations with that too. Like, families are actually taking their kids out of school because they had rules around the LGBT community and all that kind of stuff. Like the diversity stuff that gets carried away. Yeah. You know, I think.
Yeah, and I understand it. I think it's cool. And then, I guess there's bad and good things in both having to have kids in schools and out of schools. I understand why. It's just amazing how they're pushing that agenda onto kids. And then even like I can't remember if it was Australia or one of the countries where they had drag queens going into the school and doing these performances and reading storybooks.
Oh, really?
But it's not for kids. They're teaching kids about sex.
Yeah.
Sex positions and all that kind of stuff.
And see, that's where it gets crazy. Because I've heard stories, even overseas, like how they're trying to push kids to actually find out what they are.
Yeah.
Like at a young age. Like, okay, obviously there's such thing as transvestites, right? Obviously. But so kids don't go through the process of high school and getting teased and all that. And figuring out later in life, what if they figure out before that, they can move the process faster, like, so that they don't have to go through the high school, crazy shit like that.
It's like if you just put that option there where now, you're either male or female, but now you put that agenda in there.
Yeah.
You've just given them an option to now want to know what this other thing is.
But see, that's the solution for not hurting their feelings during their high school years. See?
Yeah.
See? Because they do get teased. They do get sort of outcast there.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in a boys' school.
Yeah.
They act like feminine.
Yeah.
And then they figure out they're gay later on in life. And they come out. But they're trying to stop that whole teasing part of the process.
Yeah.
The whole not fitting in.
I can go on forever about this.
No, man.
It's just, And it's sad that people will only... It's like if they hear this, then they're going to be like, man, I had a lot of respect for that Caleb. But it's like, but then, see, you didn't hear the message.
Exactly, the message. Like, you can't...
It's not against you. It's against the government.
Or the way they do it.
Having to push this to be a huge thing, or be like their issues having to overshadow a lot of the problems we've had here for years that the government won't even sort out.
Well, if you break it down, if you ask the question to break it down with the sources, again, it comes down to hurting people's feelings. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like stopping bullies, stopping...
And why? Like, why is that a big deal? Why do we have to think about their feelings? What's with that?
Well, it depends who you read. I don't know if you read Jordan Peterson, his stuff.
Oh no, I haven't read, but yeah, I do watch his stuff. He's the man.
So he goes into where it comes from, and he says it's a power thing. It's because of how communism didn't really work for humans.
Yeah.
Because you got millions of deaths in Russia and China, right? So they knew that that's not going to work. So we'll go a different way. We'll go at it and we'll go for it. We'll hit them with economics and feelings.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we'll try to change the world that way. If you believe in that stuff, which is interesting.
Oh yeah. No, he's the man. Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's an agenda out of all of this. You
Yep.
know, it's like a power struggle.
Oh heck yeah. Yeah.
It's like a power struggle. Like it's the minorities trying to get powerful for them.
Yeah.
Like, because it is the minorities. Because the LGBT community is the minority, and now they pushed in the front of the what did David Chappelle say? The oppression line, the oppression queue.
Yeah.
Like the black people were
Yeah.
were in the front of the queue all these years.
Yep.
Next month the LGBT pushed in front.
Yeah.
Like with Caitlyn Jenner, like you're looking at a male white man, rich, turned into a woman. Now he took the boxes of diversity of everything that's oppressed.
And won the what? It was the Woman of the Year, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
It's sad because, like, what about women? Actual women that's been trying to. Yeah, what about them? Like, you know, in sports and how we have trans. Oh, jeez, what do you call them? Like men that are now women.
Transgender.
Yeah.
The sports thing, yeah.
Yeah, women winning competitions. Like that's unfair. Like, do women or people actually see how unfair that is? Because biologically, males are going to be stronger and faster, and they will. So when you move into that, being a woman, they're always going to win. Like,
but see,
how that's wrong? Can't they, instead of changing? Okay, yeah. So instead of changing the world, why can't they just add to it and have a category for males, females, and then the others, instead of joining them with the.
Because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit.
Yeah. But it's just dumb. It's like, man, you're just causing more problems.
Yeah.
It's unfair.
But they do it with because I read this book called I forgot the name of it, but they do it with language as well. And they change words around.
Yeah.
So now you can't say certain words now.
Yeah.
And the example of that was homeless. You can't say homeless now in America. Homeless is like a bad word. It's unhoused. Because what homeless means, a home can be anything. Home can be a cardboard box. Home can be like a blanket on the street. That can be your home. Yeah. So he's not homeless. No such thing. So they changed it to unhoused because he's not got a house.
Yeah. So they don't have to help those
living
in those conditions as well.
Yeah, well, it's a softer version of homeless too.
Yeah.
Because it's all about changing the words around, so it's a softer version of it.
Yeah.
Like, see, no one wants to say fat anymore. Eh? That's another word that's kind of like being phased out. Fat.
Yeah.
Now it's obese. That's just like a softer version of fat, but it's still but it's better than fat.
Even
or large, or I don't know. I don't know what the word is now. I don't know what they replaced fat with.
And you can't say you can say gay. Is that right? Well, I know you can't say faggot.
Yeah, you can't say faggot.
But I know that. Actually, how did the word faggot come about? I know faggot means a bunch of sticks, I think.
What's up? Oh.
But like, how did that get used for a homosexual?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know that growing up, we never used faggot like you're gay. It was just an insult. But yeah, it was nothing to do with homosexuals. So yeah, when we called someone a faggot, it wasn't because you were gay or anything. It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we used it, but it was nothing to do with homosexuals. But yeah, it's just strange how did that become a homosexual word that now you can't use? You can't say that.
Yeah, no, because I think those words are pointed at a certain kind of person, but I think they get said not knowing what the context is, so they just get used randomly. I think that's what happens. I think that's what happened with the, because that's what happened with the N word too. I think when I was young, that was going around everywhere, but I didn't relate when I was young. I remember I didn't relate that to black people at all. You know?
That was used here for Māori as well. Nigger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that word, where that word came from. It was just like
He was a British.
it was just a name.
Yeah.
Or something. Until you know, grow up, watch all those racist movies, and understand where that word comes from. You know.
Yeah.
But then even when I was young, man, like I never knew what racism was.
Yeah. Same.
Even when I remember being called some stuff, I didn't even understand.
Yeah, well, like when I was 5, and up the road from where I lived was my mate, and he was white. He told me he wanted me to play with him. So yeah, went over. He says, "Oh yeah, but you have to leave by 4:00 because my dad doesn't like Marys." And I'm like,
Hey,
"What's that?" Oh, okay, yeah. And then, so he told me that it was 4:00, and he told me to go out the back door. So I went to the back door, and his dad was standing there, and he just gave me that dirty, not dirty, just like that aggressive look. And I just had my head down and just quickly ran off. I told my parents, and they're like, "What?
what are you over there for?"
Yeah, and I didn't know what that meant. And then in primary, being called the N-word, you dirty nigga, and you marry this, and you islander that, and I'm like, man, I didn't understand that. Like, why is this? Like, I didn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
But there was like a thing where, not hating on white people, but that's how it was. I remember talking to some friends about those things happening, and they didn't think that stuff happened. They thought it only happened like in the 70s, and that's like, nah, like in the 80s, 90s, like that was happening. Like that was normal for white people to be like that towards Maoris and Islanders, being racist. Yeah, that was normal. Well,
it was
especially,
normal.
yeah.
And that's what I didn't understand. Hey, it was normal to them.
Yeah.
And that normalization of stuff like that, that's a thing, that I sort of found out more recently with why it was cool, because I watched this documentary with Hone Hadawela, and he had an interview, and he told a story about why we sing the national anthem in Māori and all the sports events.
Oh, yeah.
Because Alan Clark told all the sports industry in New Zealand, like, they're not going to get any funding unless they do that.
Oh, far out.
Yeah. And so that's why you're seeing it now, or you hear it now. And now it's just normal.
Yeah.
It's just a thing now. It's just normalized.
Yeah.
So his point was that it has to come from the top.
Yeah.
Like some of these things.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. You know? Because I didn't know that. That was...
No, neither.
Yeah, I thought it was just because we were cool.
You know? Oh, I thought it was just part of the anthem.
Because we're the only country that have two versions of the anthem, I think.
Yeah, true.
So
Yep.
every time we go to a sports event, there's always the two versions, the English version and the Māori version. But I thought it wasn't forced on us to do it. We just did it. I thought we just did it. But nah, apparently...
Yeah, which makes sense because a lot of people don't like Māori, the language,
But then you see it in on the news, when you watch the news, that it's cool how they're saying the words properly, pronouncing it right, and everything else.
Yeah.
And now you have to pronounce the words, like it's even the street names and the places now.
Yeah.
It's like you look down upon if you say it the white way.
Yeah.
Or the who or something, like everyone's like, nah.
Yeah.
Gotta say it properly. So, yeah, I think there's gonna be a big change. I think slowly.
Yeah, well, it looks it, because I see that a lot of things are happening for Māori and Pacific that I've seen lately. Well, not lately, the past couple of years, seeing a slow process or change towards us all, because like that, how you were saying about the Māori language, because I thought, whoa, that's happening now. They're starting to do that on the news, because you see on the post, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a dead language. Why do we have to speak that? That's not how we pronounce it in our day." Yeah, that's funny. And even just how things are going for the Pacific. Like, it's cool. Like, now we're getting some attention around the world. Maybe, I guess TikTok added to that too, because I saw how, like, you get people around the world starting to notice the Pacific, Mighty and Pacific now. Like, they've never seen them before. And it's like, man, that's cool.
So where do you think your TikTok's gonna take you now? Like with everything you said now, because that's interesting. Because
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that.
Being noticed and all that. Like
We're even talking about LGBTQ. I'm like, oh yeah, geez, because I did notice that I lost probably 1,000 followers.
oh wait, you notice those things?
Well, only because it was at 96, and then it dropped to like 94, and then it's up at 95 now. And I didn't know why that was. And I thought, oh, maybe it was something I said in the past or whatever. Or, yeah.
And it was.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But yeah, where it will take me from now on, I don't know. I haven't got anything planned. The only goal that I'm going to make sure I stick to is that I keep up with the interaction with people, because when I was doing a lot of lives, a lot of people liked the interaction and talking about real stuff, and I've been slack with that, and that was because of a confidence thing and me making up excuses to why I shouldn't have, why I won't get into that, and I guess because I thought maybe I didn't have enough to give or share, because when I run out of ideas on what to make for a clip, then I'll do a live, and that was cool. I'll keep doing it, and then because of something comes up that stopped me from doing it, and then when I do have the time and I try and get into it, I'm like, oh nah, and then I forget that I should have known that when I get those feelings, when I feel like I shouldn't do it, that's when I should have done it.
Right.
Because that's when things change, where I guess like gaining more control of your feelings, where your emotions aren't taking control of your thoughts.
Because sometimes those first instincts that are the best ones, eh?
Yeah.
It's the gut feeling. People talk about the gut feeling.
Yeah.
And if you feel it, that's when you should take it, eh?
Yeah. So if I felt like I shouldn't have done it, I should have. It's just like when you're training, when you've been training for like a week or two straight, and then one day you don't feel it, and like, oh no, I can't go. That's when you needed to go. So you can put the reins back on your body. It's trying to tell you that you shouldn't do it. Yeah.
So what do you think motivates you right now, besides the
I think
curing cancer and all that?
What the what?
Curing cancer.
What motivates me?
Yeah, with your content.
I think, man, honestly, I think it's to do with that interaction that I had on Wednesday with how this chick came up and she told me, man, love your videos, your content, blah, 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 blah. Man, keep doing it. Like, man, just keep doing it. Man, you don't know how much it does for the people. And, yeah, that's what encouraged me to do one, I think Thursday night, I think it was, or Wednesday night. Yeah. So I thought, man, I guess I needed that to remind me of why I got into it in the first place. And so, because I've been distracted with so many things going on that, yeah, I kind of drifted. So, and then I do miss talking with a lot of people on live too, because you get a lot of people from the States watching. Yeah, and I feel sad because I can see they're commenting on my videos.
Yeah.
And usually I'll talk to them and I'm just like, oh, can't be bothered. Only because I know that once I get talking to you, we just go on for ages, and then I get distracted with someone else's comment, and then I'm just stuck there for hours on the phone. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to manage my time so I don't not waste it, but like just so I can put it on the right stuff.
Who are those Americans tapping in? Are they Pacific Island Americans or just random?
No, black. Do they like me? Yeah, black people. Yeah. Oh, actually, all races from the States. Yeah, and we do have a good time too when I'm on live, and I just have music playing in the background and just talking, and when I'm feeling it, I'll sing or whatever, and just being a clown, and yeah, just being me. Yeah, because when I first got on live, I didn't know. I thought you had to be a certain way, and man, that was hard because I always get nervous when I go live because I always think that I have to be a certain way, or like I don't know how to get into it. Like if I need to,
at the start of it.
yeah, and
Because once you're rolling, it's all good. Eh?
Yeah. When people start asking questions, then that's cool. We're into it. But if sometimes I'll just sit there and just be like,
I find that the most difficult thing about the podcast starting.
yeah,
I don't know where to start from.
Yeah.
But then we'll just
Just get into it like you did when we first started.
Just talk, just say something and just let it flow from there.
Yeah, the best way.
But I always had this thing in my head, like talk about random stuff.
Yep.
And not even get into the guests until later on, like maybe an hour. There's one we did with Dominic. He's an actor. He's an actor. He came on the street. He's doing that one lane bridge.
Yep.
On TV show. And man, we had this cool chat for half an hour, 40 minutes about sushi and something else like Japan and just random.
Yeah.
You know. And then I forgot to press record. So fuck. I realized after 40 minutes, so it's to start again. But that was all gone.
Yeah.
But that was gold, man. Like we just flowed with all this random shit, eh? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and man, I like to think when people listen, what the hell am I listening to? You know? But knowing it's someone, a celebrity, and knowing it's a podcast, knowing that it can be anything, knowing that you can't even, no one will allow Dominic to talk on TV about sushi and all random stuff, you know. But I think that's the lane podcasts are at. Somewhere where you can talk about anything. And I have a problem with podcasts that sound like the radio. Yeah. Because it shouldn't be. Yeah. Let radio have that. That's them. No one wants to listen.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like that's just my opinion. You know, that's just my thing. So.
No, I like that because I thought we needed to be more like that. Because I thought like with radio, it's organized. There's a structure, but like you're saying about podcasts, you know, I'm thinking about the panel and how we try to have a structure so it didn't look messy. But it is better to just flow.
Because I think it gets the most out of people, like people that are not professionals. Like,
because then you feel
I'm not
like
a professional.
Yeah, and then you feel like you have to cram everything into this short time.
Yeah,
and it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
But then it shows the human side of you as well, eh? Yeah, when you can be free.
Well, it does exactly that. And I think because it's a long form conversation, you can get down to the bottom of what you're trying to say or what. See, we talked about half an hour on the reasons why we try to avoid our kids getting pregnant as teenagers. You know, like if people talk about it on TV, it's only 5 minutes. Yeah, but we actually thought about stuff, talked about it, came back to it, remembered stuff. You know, we talked about half an hour about that, and so, but that's a good enough time to figure it out. Yeah, you know, as you go along. Yeah, you know, or
that's how you get to know a person, eh? When you know, like I was just thinking that because of Kingston and how people see him, but if they could actually sit down and talk with him, they'll know him a bit more and understand. Where he's coming from. Yeah,
and that's the reason why I had. That's one reason why I wanted him to come on the podcast, for me to talk to him. Yeah, and for people to get 3 hours of him talking to get their own opinion. Yeah, on what he's really like. Same as Steven Setu when I had him on. Like I know he caused a lot of controversy with what he says. You know, people get angry. People love him. People hate him. But you don't get the hour talk and to find out what he's really like. Yeah. Or if you think your assumptions of him are true, you think, oh fuck, he's an asshole. But if you listen to him for 3 hours, you'll know at the end of 3 hours if he is an asshole or not, for real. Because you've given that enough time to listen to him, you know? Yeah. And I think the difference between Stephen and Kingston, you know, they're out there on social media giving their messages the hard way. Like they're giving hard messages.
Yeah.
You know, that no one delivers. You know, no one out there is delivering these kind of messages on social media right now in the Polynesian community.
Yeah.
The way Stephen does and
Yeah.
Kingston does. That's why you get all the hate for them, because
Yeah.
it's something brand new. We wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
We think about it, but we don't say it.
Yeah.
You know, and how dare you go on social media and expose what we think?
Yeah, well, it's like, because whenever we talk, I'm like, man, like, that's how I am. You know, I don't deliver it like that. Oh, no, actually, that's who I am outside of, off camera. That's what I'm like off camera. Like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah, I am. It's just because I started like this on TikTok. I'm afraid to change it because it's going to confuse people or whatever. But no, actually, when I get frustrated with people, I'm like that with like how Kingston is. Yeah. So I always, like, because of where I'm at now on TikTok, I find a different way of delivering it. Yeah, so people don't misinterpret what was said and take it to heart because, what, that was aggressive. You know, like, I missed the point. Yeah.
Nah, it's cool, man. Bro, man, thanks for coming in.
Oh, that's cool, man. Oh. Yeah, didn't expect it to go like this. Like, it's good because I was nervous as.
Hey,
Yeah.
No, you don't have to worry. Next time you come on.
Yeah, man.
It's just casual chat, man. It's casual
I
chat.
don't need RV here.
You probably want you to come back because he can be here now.
Yeah, man.
Catch up with him, but it's cool. It's cool because even though the guests we've had on that come on the second time, I find those the best ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've already dealt with the history and all the stuff you want to know. So you know the person, so now you can talk about anything you want. Like there's the unknown. I like the unknown when it comes to having a conversation.
Yep.
And finding out things on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best thing about this podcast.
Yep.
And the way I want to do it. Like I want to know off the fly about somebody. Like,
yeah.
And not doing the research around the person, because I hate that. I hate doing the research around the person. I want to know a little bit, but not enough that I won't ask a question.
Yeah.
Because if I know something about you already, why would I answer that question?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, it might change the way you approach them or even want to do your podcast, if you were to know the history.
Yeah. And plus, like I said, it's for me, not for the audience, you know?
Yeah. Well, because like I was going to ask you, what are the things you're going to ask? Because I wanted to be prepared. But then,
what did I say? I said, nah, don't worry, I'm not even prepared.
Yeah, that's right. And I was thinking, but still, man, like, I don't want to sound dumb or like, I want to make sure I got something. But then I realized that.
You know how many times I sound dumb on this podcast? Like, how hundreds of episodes I sound dumb, man.
Maybe to you, you know, because like, I think we are our biggest critics to ourselves. Because we're always worrying about what people might say, or like maybe because of the expectations that we have on ourselves, that if we feel like we haven't reached it, then yeah. But like with the being prepared, I was thinking I wanted that, but then later on I thought, well, nah, because actually that's where I start saying stupid things, because there's so many things I want to say to this question, and I probably didn't have it there written down. That I'm all over the place. So. No, it's good.
But that's the beauty of it being all over the place, because you can be all over the place. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
true. Yeah.
It allows for people to be all over the place.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, they've said on the podcast, sorry, I've gone off topic. I mean, no. It's about that. You can go detours, man, because we can come back if you want, or because we've got all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we'll come back. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be so scared if I ever get asked to do one with someone else. Yeah.
No, I'll be tuning in on Tuesday for sure. Sorry, I missed the last Tuesday. I forgot, but I'll try and catch next Tuesday. So when's the panel, and when does people find it, and what time?
It's Tuesday nights, about 9 p.m. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. Tuesday nights. we're still sorting out which platform to do it because
TikTok's getting stricter.
Yeah, because of Kingston. So, and I think it's because of the people hating. So yeah, we'll probably do it again, or maybe we'll change the day. Maybe
You can do it on live on YouTube.
yeah, we're thinking about that too, or even Clapper. We just heard about that. It's another like a TikTok kind of thing. So maybe there, but yeah, Tuesday nights. But yeah, Tuesday nights it's us.
Don't worry, I'll be tuning. I'll tune in. I'll tune in next Tuesday.
I hope we're not that boring for you.
So let's get it. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro.
WESWES, y'all.